Okay, here we go. We're going to get it in. All right, peace, peace, peace to the family in the building. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? Let's go. See, this is, I got to use this system now because, you know, it's all good. But anyway, peace and Black Power family. Welcome to another Sarnetta TV House of Consciousness Black News 102 production. And as you can see, we are here with a powerful debate. We got to get this off our chest. Hopefully, y'all going to be able to see who's the loser going to be, because the loser will be making 10 videos after this debate is all over with. So without any further ado, I bring to you our brother Michael Edwards. Introduce yourself, family. I'm only giving you 2 minutes to, what I said, 5 minutes before?
5.
Yes.
All right, you got 5 minutes to state your claim, what it is that you're arguing. My brother Michael, you go first. Brother Jabari, you got your watch?
I do. Let me ask this. Maybe, Saad, we could run down so the family knows what the time that we agreed on is?
No, that's it. We agreed 5 minutes.
For the intro, and then after that, I mean. You good with the rest?
And then after that, we're going to go 10 minutes for your opening argument, and then come back to you, Jabari, for 10 minutes for your opening argument. And if Mike have anything else, he can go again. Like that. We're going to go back and forth.
Okay. The presentation's supposed to have 15, though.
Oh, the presentation is 15
yeah,
minutes?
So after the 5, it's 15.
All right, let's get it in.
Okay.
Any more to do, because I got another show to do at 6 o'clock.
Uh-oh.
All right.
We finished before then.
My brother Garfield will be in the building. He's on the wing waiting out for this. And so without any further ado, I bring to you my brother Michael Edwards. The time starts when you're ready. Go ahead, Mike.
All right. First of all, I'd like to say, giving honor and praise to my God, the one God, the Lord of all. Secondly, I want to give these brothers honor that have allowed me this chance and this opportunity, especially my brother Sarnetta. I appreciate your platform, and I appreciate you honoring me to this extent. Now, and also the brother Jabari, I honor you and I respect you, man. As a
all right, I want to let you know I didn't start your time yet. I'm letting you get all that out before I start. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, go ahead. Hit it now.
All right, you now on the clock. Go.
Okay. Okay, much respect to the brother Jabari, and I honor you as a scholar as well as a brother. But my point in bringing this, and for the past 5 years since Kemet on trial, was not a malicious undertaking. But the point still remains that I was saying 5 years ago, that all that study chematology are not forthright with information, are not honest. Many times, more times than not, these people become masters of omission. Omission of pertinent information that will not only join most common belief systems of Africa, but will also allow you all to see something unhindered and unfettered. Objective teaching is what is needed today. Nobody needs to guide you as your guru. They need to point you in the right direction and let you see what is plainly there. All of us are evolved beings, and we all have that ability. We all are beings that definitely have 2 nouns as our makeup. Ba and Ka. In the Hebrew culture, that is Ruach and Nefesh. We believe a commonality to this extent. That extent digs deeper into literality. Literal. When you have a soul and a spirit, or either of the two, you cannot be a myth. One more time. When you have a Ba and a Ka, you cannot be a make-believe principle alone. The Bible is written on several different levels. The Bible is written on the Targum level. The Bible is written upon the Hebrew Aramaic level. And then the Bible is written upon the English and the rest of the world's translations and transliterations. All three aspects are important to be taught. Same goes with Kemet. All three. The pictorial aspects of your papyri, the actual Medu-Neter, and the, what that means. And the textual level, which will be what you get in most of these books, like the Papyrus of Ani from Raymond Faulkner. Now, we're going to start with Raymond Faulkner. And let me remind you, Faulkner, above Wallace Budge and Mercer and all of these other people, Ogden Gillette and Wasserman, and just you go on down the line all the way back to the French people that came and robbed Egypt. All of these people have a golden thread. I'm pretty sure the brother Jabari will want you to look past the golden thread. But remember, I said to you, Ba and Ka equal literal. Ba and Ka equal you. And guess what? Ba and Ka is described in the prime God that is said to be the soul of Re. In the Papyrus of Ani is where I'm going to bring that forth later, and you will see that. But I want to frame my conversation in three papyri: the Papyrus of Ani, the Papyri of Hinutawi, and the Papyrus of Tamanu, which are three very, very, very clear papyri. And these three papyri are clearly being run from your community. In the introduction hymn to Osiris, I want to point out to you even monotheism. Monotheism, one more time, monotheism. In the introduction to the hymn of Osiris is a reference to the Lord of all. The Lord of all, there's one of those. There's one of those, one more time, one of those, and that's called monotheism. We believe in monotheism. Deuteronomy 6:4. Shema Yasharal Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. My God, your God is one. Same belief. We believe in powers exceeding ex magistrates, all that exude the creative power of Yahuwah. The same is with your nature principles, but you don't teach it to the degree that you can separate what is nature principle and what is literal Ba and Ka. Now, when I tell you the introduction of the hymn of Osiris, it likens Osiris to be a king of kings, a lord of lords, a ruler of rulers. And it also, again, alludes to the fact that there is a Lord of all.
Tom.
You will find this written in plate 2A and 2B. How close am I, quickly?
That's time, brother. If you look on the screen, I'm showing it as you're talking, going back and
forth. Okay, I'm sorry, brother.
Don't worry about it. Okay. Save it for the body of your opening. Don't worry about it. This is just the opening. Brother Jabari, same time. You got 5 minutes. The time will start after you finish giving your props to Black News 102. Go ahead, my brother.
I could spend 5 minutes giving props to Black News 102. I mean, come on.
Just go ahead, brother. Your time will start when you're ready to go in.
Let me first say that I have said this in public, but I haven't said it enough. I actually believe that we need to recognize, and we may not be recognizing because we're still in this moment. We need to recognize that what Brother Sarnetta is doing is he's creating a historical record of the conscious movements in the United States and beyond. It's the kind of record that wanted ancestors like Arturo Schomburg created. And
you still sound a lot choppy now.
Really?
Yeah, your joint is real bad.
Maybe if we mute our mics, Sarnetta, let's me and you mute our mics and try it and see.
Sa, can you hear me?
Much better
Sa,
now.
it looks like you
way better, but I don't see. Yeah, go ahead. I hear you. Say something.
Okay.
Much better. Much better.
Is that Brother Sa Neter is actually creating a record of the conscious community in this current period, similar to the record that sits in the incredible Schomburg Library. It is going to be something that 100 years from now, 200 years from now, people are going to look back to understand what was happening in the first part of this new millennium. And so I want to appreciate the work that he's doing. I'm hoping that the family is really tuning in. What else are you going to watch? You're going to watch Maury or Judge Judy right now? This is the knowledge that will help resurrect our people. So it's of critical importance for us to tune in. You may not agree with everything. I know that Sa Neter is able to bring together people from so many different sections of our community. But it's not necessary for you to agree with everything. This is actually a forum for us to discuss higher knowledge. And so with that, I want to begin my 5 minutes.
All right, time.
Let me say that I want to say Amasun Panter, Soxamidran Panter, Auta Ura Maketi Paharura. And in saying that,
Brother Jabari, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, Jabari. Oh man, oh man. See, so it wasn't even my memo. It wasn't my other thing either. Jabari, we can't hear you.
He might have froze up, Sa Neter, because he ain't even moving, nothing.
He's not even there. Jabari's in the basement of his house. That's what it is. He's in the basement.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Yeah. Yeah, ask him to come upstairs, man, where his stuff will be clear.
Yeah, he's in the basement, man. This is not working good. I hate unprofessional stuff, man. I don't know. You're in the basement, right? You're in the bottom. You're downstairs.
Yeah, I'm connected to my router.
Man, for some reason, you're not connected. You're not here. It just went right off.
I wish I could explain what was
All
happening.
right, I see you. You back now. Let's get it, man. Come on.
I'm back.
Yeah, I see you. We're gonna start your time.
Okay. Goodness. What is Mercury in retrograde or something like that? What is going on today?
I can't see you. You got a picture there.
Yeah, it took my camera off.
Okay, you there.
Can
We're gonna start your time right now. Let's just get it in.
Oh my goodness. Whew. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go. I want to say that my brother Michael Edwards, I began by giving respect to the divine force, and believe that Brother Edwards is actually moving and really attempting to actually people.
Jabari,
and so because of that,
Jabari, it ain't gonna work. You breaking up bad, brother. It's where you at.
I have no idea what's going on.
It's where you at. That's what it is.
I did it.
Sa Neter, we both have to mute our mics. Mute yours when he's talking, and just sign him when you need him to,
Problem. I just tested the speed. I'm popping. I mean, it's going pretty quick here.
You see how it sounds now when we mute both of us? You're clear. You're perfectly clear when we mute. Try it again.
I mean, my speed is looking incredible. I don't know. I just did a speed test. I don't know why.
All right, go ahead, Jabari. Go. We muted. You'll go. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me start again. Let me say I want to go ahead and give respect to Brother Michael Edwards. What I was saying is that he is attempting to actually find a philosophy, a cultural philosophy, a spiritual philosophy that will assist our people in moving forward in power. He is my brother, not just genetically, but in that aim. Now, I want to say, however, that while he's my brother, he has said many things that have been quite diluted and needs great correction. He's made comments about people who follow Egyptology, chematology. And the first thing I would say to my dear brother is the best thing he could do is enroll in my 15-week class. The best thing he could do is come to my services. He's mistaken what he's heard in debates, instruction. And so if he thinks that the folks that are
Jabari, it ain't gonna work. We ain't gonna be able to do this. Nah, we can't do it. We can't do it, brother.
Handle of Kemet.
Jabari, we ain't gonna be able to do it.
Is breaking up too badly?
It's too bad, man. We ain't gonna be able to do this.
I don't know what it is.
Nah.
I can't tell you what it is.
Well, you downstairs, and I don't know.
No. But listen, I'm not using cellular. I'm using the fastest internet that they have in Harlem.
Well, they beating
and
you,
it's
brother.
Connected right to the modem.
Jabari, they beating you, brother. They beating you because if the people look at my screen right now. Just look at it. Look at the clarity. Look at the sound.
No.
I'm using Roadrunner. I'm using the fastest.
So am I. So what's the problem?
Maybe you have to bring
I don't know.
Band down.
And I'm gonna tell you,
yours lower your bandwidth. Maybe you lower your bandwidth and it'll fix it.
Yours is actually when I see you, Sonnetter, you actually look pixelated. And everyone looks pixelated. The only one that's clear is me because I think it's coming straight from my camera.
Right, Jabari, can you?
So I don't think it's the speed because I tested the speed twice.
Can you lower your bandwidth?
That's not something you can do on cable. You could maybe do that on a phone or something, but on cable,
I understand.
I mean, you get bandwidth, and they just give you what you got. And when I look at it, it's popping really quickly.
It's clear now. I can hear you clearly now.
I'm not sure what the challenge is.
Yeah, it is clear. Now you sound good, but every time you go in,
But am I pixelating or is it just my voice?
All right, go, Jabari. Let's try it again. Go, man.
Okay, let's try it again. What I was saying, and I hope the family heard, is that while Brother Michael Edwards is my brother, he has made quite ridiculous claims. He has said things that are actually, and I don't think he understands this, disrespectful to our ancestors, disrespectful to our ancient traditions, and disrespectful to the civilization that gave civilization to the rest of the world. That is what he's done. He said things that are ludicrous. He said that the folks that are actually practicing Kemetic spirituality, that are following the ways of ancient Cam, are actually teaching by omission. And he said that these are things that he's heard since Kemet on trial. I want to be really clear with him that going to a debate is not an opportunity for in-depth instruction. That's not what occurs there. We're simply addressing the concepts that are put forth by folks who are coming from different traditions. So it's not the same thing as hearing instruction. If you came here on my bi-weekly services, you would hear my instruction. If you were an initiate, you would hear my instruction. If you were a student in my history class, both on Kemet and Nubia, you would hear a more in-depth understanding. But I want to also challenge him that even though he says that we're practicing omission, when I look at those debates, he's seen the same debates I have. I have not seen people from the Kemetic tradition fly away, run away, or stay away from any section of our teaching. Now, I think that one of the things that has happened is he's gotten to look at two papyri. By the way, you should know there are thousands of papyri, thousands and thousands of papyri. But he's looked at one papyri and he's seeing things that he believes because of his limited, literal social mores that, by the way, I should say, are coming from a European tradition. I'm going to prove that in a few moments. He is able to look at some things that look bizarre to him, and he's saying that they are things that are inappropriate. He's actually said that perhaps some of our traditions are practicing the infidelity that was practiced in Sodom. He's talked about BJs. He's even said that our people practice incest. And in saying that, what he's doing is he is making claims that are not based on any of the archaeological or textual information. I'm going to show you incest in a few minutes, family. I want you to look at it very clearly. The other thing that he says is that he wants me to be honest and clear. And I need to be clear to my dear brother that I am a priest of Ma'at. Ma'at, the 7 principles of Ma'at are truth, balance, order, harmony, righteousness, morality, and law. You have to understand that I know no other way to be. If I was going to tell you things that were incorrect, inappropriate, or just misleading, I would be violating Ma'at. And so I'm going to deal with everything he puts forward. And I want you to know that as he puts it forward, you will clearly see that each of his ideas are unfounded, irrational, or not based on a thorough understanding of the tradition. Finally, I want to say something really clear here. He says that because a spiritual text mentions a soul, it means that this individual that is mentioned as a soul must be literally a person, that this description is literal. Why in the world does he believe that simply because a text mentions a soul? By the way, Brother Michael, we don't have 2 souls in ancient Kemet. And if you had done more research, you would know that the Kemetic tradition actually describes 5 portions of the soul, not 2, not just the Ka, the Ba, but the Ak, the Kaibit, and the Kat. And so you have to understand that this is something that you need to do more research on to understand. You are at a severe, severe, severe disadvantage here. Brother Jabari was a Christian. Brother Jabari read the Bible 4 times. Brother Jabari spent nearly half of his life in that house, reading the books that you read, studying the books that you read. But since then, I have been not only a historian, but a Kemetic priest. So you've been calling for this debate by putting forward 86 trillion videos on YouTube. Brother, I hope you're ready. That's my time, Brother Sonnet.
You still had 10 seconds left.
That's fine. I'm going to relinquish them to that brother.
Michael Edwards, your 15 minutes begin. Hold on. Hold on. I want you to set your time, Jabari. Set the clock for 15 minutes. Show the people. Can you put it on the screen while he's speaking?
It's on my phone. Can you see that?
Yeah, can you, I want you to be showing the time as he's speaking sometime, because I can go right to listen.
I can put it up to this camera every now and then.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Okay.
All right. So, Brother Mike, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, Mike, you start. When you start, the time will start.
All right. Well, our good brother Jabari, and as respectful as the brother is, your passive aggression has caused you to start this debate in a deficit. How so? Well, and let me ask you brothers to mute your mics so mine can be perfectly clear. Please mute your mics. Please mute your mics quickly. Sarnetta, please, brother, mute your mic.
All right, hold on. I'm changing the battery in my mouse. Notice that's why I didn't go over to you.
Clip that mic though, so I can go.
I know I can't click it until I change my battery, brother.
All right. Now, our brother Jabari has just begun this debate with a self-inflicted wound, a self-inflicted deficit. I have before me the Papyrus of Ani, which in the Papyrus of Ani, the 42 or the Declaration of Innocence before the gods of the tribunal, let's be technical, the 42 confessions. I have it in front of me, and I said that you and your friends and your scholarly partners are masters of omission for the very reason that I'm going to begin pointing out now. Now, You say that my teaching and my perception of these things, not only being literal, but being factual and actual, is wrong. But when I look at the 22nd Declaration of Innocence, it says that I have not wrongly copulated. Well, when we look at that statement, number 22, I have not wrongly copulated, it leads us to understand a few things. That number one, there must be a right way to copulate. Let's deal with the definition of copulate. Copulate is intercourse. One more time, layman's version. Copulating is intercourse. Now, there are many different types of intercourse, but the many different types of intercourse, all of them are not righteous or right. So therefore, again, let me remind you, I have not wrongly copulated is the 22nd Declaration of Ma'at, or Declaration of Innocence. Brother Jabari, when you don't teach that autofellatio is wrongful copulation, you become a master of omission and by default non-credible. I have not heard anyone except myself in the past 5 years speak concerning autofellatio by definition and by the word. Neither have I heard you all speak about sodomy in its proper context. Now let me visit the word sodomy by definition. You badly defined it, asserting something to me on one of your other videos. You said that in response to my video, was Osiris a sodomite? You said that sodomy is akin only to the place called Sodom. That's terrible. You stuck your own sword right in your chest in front of all of us. I'm a Hebrew linguist, but commonality, we are English. Let's read the definition of the word sodomy so we can understand what the Sodom story is about, and so we can understand how autofellatio is wrongful copulation. The definition of the word sodomy is oral or anal copulation. One more time. Oral or anal copulation. That alludes to the fact that homosexuals can be called sodomites, and it does mean that heterosexuals can be called sodomites. How? Qualify that, Michael. Wrongful copulation. Do you hear me clearly? Wrongful copulation makes you a sodomite, heterosexual or homosexual. If you're giving head, if you're having anal sex, you are a sodomite. The Bible declares that the marriage bed is undefiled. And so those things are the only, catch for that, for you to be able to partake in oral sex and anal sex. You have to be married. But the great majority of the people that believe in chemical science are not married. They are adulterers, fornicators, and definitely sodomites. And they don't live in the city of Sodom. Now let's take this much deeper into a literal reality and actuality. Wrongful copulation. Let's back it up and let's go to plate 8. Plate 7B. I'm sorry. Plate 7B is a continuation of plate 7A. This speaks about someone very important. English transliteration, Osiris. But you would love me to say Osiris or Asar or whatever. Listen. Who is he? He is Osiris. Otherwise said, his name is Re. His name is Praise of Re. He is the soul of Re, with whom he himself copulated. Remember, the 22nd confession of Ma'at is, I have not wrongly copulated. What is wrongful copulation? Sodomy. What is sodomy? Oral or anal copulation. Here we have your God, your nectar. And let me remind you that Osiris is not a nectar principle. Osiris is a literal living being. How do I know that? Because number one, it calls him a soul. A soul. One more time, a soul. Your language likens the soul to be the ba. The spirit likened to be the ka. In our traditions of Hebrew culture, we have the same paralleled idea. Ruach ha'adam, spirit of man. Nefesh, right? The living soul, or the breath of lives, which causes mankind and every being to be a living soul. Genesis chapter 2 and 1, mind you. But here we have the introductory hymn to Osiris, plate 2A. I want to assert to you what I asserted in my introduction, that not only is Osiris a living being, but he is a tangible king, lord, and ruler, as relates to your document. Also, the introduction to the hymn of Osiris likens the presence of the Lord of all to be a supreme deity. One more time, the Lord of all is reckoned to be a supreme deity. That is called monotheism, that you believe that there is one supreme deity. Now let me draw another commonality between the Israelite culture and this. The word Elohim is declared to be powers exceeding X, or even magistrates, all to be understood figuratively and literally. Figuratively and literally. Elohim are powers and creative aspects of the one God, the Lord of all. Now, are we talking about the same Lord? Maybe, maybe not, but at the end of the day, I'm sure you're going to figure out one of us is wrong. Now, I said the original people that used this papyri for Ani, that used the papyri of Hinutawi, that used the papyri of Tamanu, they had an idea that is not congruent with what you all teach today. And we're going to start with the introduction hymn to Osiris. Listen closely, ladies and gentlemen, and if you have it, pull it up, read along with me. Plate 2A begins this way. Worship of Osiris Winifred, the great God who dwells in the finite known, King of eternity. Eternity is literal. Let me remind you. Lord of the everlasting. Everlasting is literal. Let me remind you. Who passes millions of years in his lifetime. How can he be a nectar principle alone when he has a lifetime? In the transliteration and in the meta-nectar. Let's move on. The firstborn son of Nut. I told you, this is not principle alone. 3 levels. He has family. There is a family tree. And even on the papyrus of Tamanu, its first level is the family. To understand it, you must understand the principles involved. Father, son, daughter. but incest. We'll get to that later. Let's go back. Begotten son of, firstborn son of Nut, begotten of Geb, heir, lord of the Weret crown, whose white crown is tall. And let me remind you that Atem and Osiris share what is called crowns. These crowns are not crowns that rule an unseen dimension. Jabari, the upper and lower lands of Kemet were ruled not only by living Nisuts that were blood humans, but they were ruled by the throne that Atem sat on, that Osiris sat on. Brother, that even alludes to an inheritance. Now let me speed up because I think I'm at 12 minutes, so let me go a little faster. He has taken the crook and flail and the office of his forefathers. Again, it alludes to a genealogy, forefathers, and this deity dealing with the crook and flail, the same thing that the Nisuts used to rule the lands. Let's go down where it talks about the two lands flourishing in vindication because you in the presence of the Lord of all. Monotheism in your document. Let's go on a little bit deeper. Let's find out if this is really literal. Hail to you, King of kings, Lord of lords, ruler of rulers, who took possession of the two lands, even the womb of Nut. He rules the plains in the silent land, even the golden body, blue of head, and we're not talking about heck, on whose arms is turquoise. Now watch this, you all. Watch this. When we go down to the final, well, second to final statement in this introduction here, it says, may there be given to me bread from the house of cool water, and the table of offerings from Heliopolis. My toes may be firmly planted in the field of reeds. May the barley and emmer, which are belonging to the Ka of Ani Osiris. Barley doesn't grow anywhere but in a tangible realm. Rulers don't happen anywhere but in a tangible realm. A being with a soul is but anything. If it's going to be anything, it is tangible. It is living. Now, why is Osiris joined with Re? Because Re has to have a mode of expression. When we're dealing with Ba and Ka, you don't have a complete person unless there is a trifold union. Ba, Ka, and the image that you're looking at in front of you, your body. Osiris has a soul. He has a mode of communication, which is said to be in Papyrus of Ani, plate 7A and B, the soul of Re. Now, you tell me, in ancient culture, how was a soul ever depicted as not literal? The Ka can be considered not literal because it is intangible. And it is only a joining factor in the mode of communication between your higher self, which is your Ba, and your body. So Ba, higher self, Ka, your mind, and your body work in tandem. The same is present with brother Osiris, man. The same is even present with Atem. Even they have crowns and lands of rulership. Now, I think maybe that may be the 15 minutes.
Jabari, let them know how much time. Show the time.
Show the time, please, quickly.
Jabari, it went past 15 minutes, man.
Yeah.
Unmute yourself, Jabari.
I've been showing the time the whole time.
Unmute yourself. All right, time, Michael.
Okay.
All right, set the time for yourself, Jabari. Let's get ready. I hope your sound is better because I just heard your shit crackling just now, Jabari.
It's also possible that you guys aren't muted. I think that's what we figured out, that when you're not muted, we have sound.
Yeah, your whole shit is sound real bad though, Jabari. Damn, man.
But you mute your brother Mike, if you can mute your mic.
Yes, yes.
And let's see if that improves things a bit. How is that, Brother Sa? Still not good? I don't know what's the problem. I just don't get it. I've tested the speed. The speed is moving really well. How is that? Why don't you come back on, Sa, and let me hear what you're saying in terms of how my voice sounds.
Don't you have two? You can use. Are you using your Logitech?
Yes.
Hey. All right.
I'm using a webcam.
Why don't you try to use your?
I'm not even using this cam on my laptop. I'm using my webcam.
See if you can use the sound on your computer. See how that sounds. Switch the sound. Not the cam. You can use the cam, but use the sound on the computer.
I don't know if that's as easy as it sounds.
Jabari, try this. Just go out of the room and come back.
Nah. He ain't got to do that. He ain't got to do that.
No? Okay.
Nah.
You're still saying that my sound is really bad?
All right, it sounds good now. Let's go, man.
I didn't do anything different. I don't know what it is.
Go ahead. You're good now.
Okay, so let me give this a try. Okay, first of all, wait, let me set my time. So you see it, family. Okay, first of all, I want to thank Brother Michael for his spirited presentation. I think that there are some times that he is making claims that he's not able to support, and I'll talk to you about that a little bit. First of all, he says that in one of my videos, my response to him actually, that I said sodomy was just from Sodom. That's not quite what I said. What I said in the video was, at one point I thought I should be facetious and tell him that no one could be sodomites at the time because Sodom didn't exist. And I was just trying to tease him and say that his tradition is much newer. But in reality, I understood what he was trying to say. And I don't want to shy away from what he's trying to say. What he's trying to say is, when we listen to the descriptions of the Neteru and the way that they actually create all of creation, are they doing things that are inappropriate in terms of sexuality? That's what he means. I don't need to get into misleading etymology to defeat that argument. So let's deal with it really closely. First of all, I do want you, however, to see that the word sodomy, and I think it's important that you see this. Let me share you my screen for a moment. I think it's important that you see that the word sodomy, this is from Merriam-Webster's dictionary, I hope you can see this, actually comes from Latin, and it referred to Genesis, the book in the Bible. So I want you to understand that what Brother Michael is attempting to do is he's trying to tell you that there's some sort of universal definition for sodomy. And I want to say to you that, first of all, there isn't. In terms of that describes sexual interaction.
You're breaking up, Jabari. We didn't hear that. Breaking up, brother. You breaking up.
Brother Mike, did you hear what I just said? Can you pause me for a second?
No, Mike ain't hear that either. If it broke up on my end, it broke up on everybody's end.
I don't know why it's breaking up. I can't tell you.
It's breaking up, but I can hear you. It's just not clear. I can make out exactly what you're saying, but
nah, you can't make out what he just said because it broke up. You trying to let him go on?
I heard him.
You trying to let him go on? All you gotta do, Jabari, is look at the chat room, and the chat room is telling you.
Oh no, I'm not in the chat room. I'm actually looking at the Google Hangout space.
Yeah, it's messing up.
It's choppy. It's choppy, brother. I ain't gonna lie. It's choppy.
I don't know what else to do. I mean, is it possible that I can actually do this? Are my images fine?
Yeah, your image is fine.
Can we go in between possibly a call? Maybe I can do some of this on the telephone?
Man, I just hate it. Nah, because you got to show your slides, right?
Yeah, I do. I don't know what else to say to you. I wish I knew. what the issue was. I don't know what the issue is. And I have a lot to deal with here, and I want to get to it.
All right. Damn.
So,
go ahead.
What's your suggestion? So
It's not.
hold on one second.
If you could,
Hold on one second. Let me see if I'm going to try something else. 1 second.
You should stop your clock. Stop the clock too.
Oh, you know what? Okay, I will. Hold on. Yeah, I stopped it. I stopped it when we started having this conversation. Let's see this. Is that any better?
Yeah. What you do different?
Is that any better? Can you hear me clearly now?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, maybe that's it. You know, I'm new to this Google Hangout. I did figure out that perhaps the audio was coming from the laptop rather than from the HD camera.
There you go. See? Now let's go.
Is it clearer now?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Let's get it. Okay, so let me show you what time I was at.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, and I'm going to start again. You'll see me, family, start it.
Let's go.
Okay. So I want to be clear that when it comes to describing the appropriate manner in which individuals can engage in intercourse, some of the earliest descriptions of moral conduct within sexual relations come from Kemet. I'm going to tell you that someone using a book that was at earliest written, that the earliest pieces of it were written at 700 CE, 700 AD, 700 BCE, at earliest, cannot lecture me about social mores. The world's oldest book, The Maxims of Ptah-hotep, describes how not to involve yourselves in matters with the women in the houses of your allies. And they say doing so and engaging in a moment of pleasure can lead to the complete death. It's clear that with regard to socially appropriate intercourse, the Kemetic people, ancient African people, have the highest teaching and the earliest teaching. So to hear something from someone who was reading a later book that has large sections that come from the Kemetic tradition is almost laughable. But I am going to address what Brother Michael is saying with regard to what he's saying about Asar. First of all, I want you to know that Brother Michael he continues to say, is Brother Michael on the screen or am I on the screen? Brother Michael continues to say that Asar is not a netter because he has a family. You have to understand that that is a ludicrous concept. Even in the description that Brother Michael read to you, he mentioned that newts are in his lineage, family. Full search. I'm not telling you that you have to go through all of the machinations I've gone through in studying the ancient Kemetic tradition before the internet. That's how long I've been at this. You can just do a simple Google search and you'll understand that Newt, Lady of the Heavens, she literally has stars on her body. At night, the sun, and in the morning, she gives birth to it. We are not talking about a literal character. And Geb is her husband, her consort. Geb is the earth. He is usually depicted in green. So understand that in the lineage of Asar are both the heavens and the earth. So if he wants to say that simply because he has a family, he's a literal character, you have to do more reading, Brother Michael, so you understand this. By the way, Asar is a character whose face is green or black. You see actual Asar Nefer actually has, in many instances, leaves growing from his body. And so you must understand that we are talking about the principle of resurrection. That is what we're talking about. And as we talk about the principle of resurrection, if you are not able to understand that we are talking about a character that is not literal, then I don't know what else to say to you. Here we go. I'm going to share for a moment here, just so you can see. And this is just a simple Google. I wasn't prepared to respond to that. Take a look at this image here, family. You are seeing an image of Asar with
actual barley growing from his body. Because barley is about symbolism. The reason why Brother Michael struggles with this concept is because he's reading the Bible and just the Bible, and he doesn't understand the origins of his tradition. If he read other books that describe the early Christianity, this is a book that I actually
Jabari.
Take a look at that. Yes.
Yeah, we ain't gonna be able to do this, brother.
I'm breaking up still?
Yeah, it's breaking up, man.
Oh, he's good, son. Let him roll. Let him roll.
Nah, it's not good. It's not good. Because I don't want this type of scholarship getting out.
Come on, son.
See, Mike, I don't understand Mike.
I can hear the brother. I'm taking notes, son. No, I can hear the brother so much that I'm taking notes.
Is that chat room saying you're not hearing me?
You hear me, son? I'm taking notes. That's how much I can hear him.
Look at him right now. You can look at him and see it's bad, man. Come on, Mike. Stop trying to get an easy win. Stop trying to get an easy win. The people can't hear him.
I'll make it fair. Watch this. I'll make it fair. I'll close off my video and only.
No, Mike. If you look at the chat room, everybody in the chat room is saying we can't hear him. Everybody's saying that. It's not just me, brother.
Okay. Let him go out and come back in, son.
And you know what, Michael, you all the way in Cali. I don't know why we can't hear Jabari. It got to be his router, his browser. It's something that's not good.
I can't tell you what's going on.
Let him go out and come back in when it gets like that.
Nah, it's not that. I just don't
I have no problem going out and coming back in.
See, look at that. I can't even hear what you just said.
And I don't think the headset is a problem.
That's because our mic's open. We had to be clear on that. We got to make sure we mute our stuff for the brother.
Talking about my audio, he's saying the video is poor as well, right?
Yeah, it's poor, man. It's just not good, man. You know what? If you call in, we can hear it, and you can show the slides as you talking. How about that?
There might be a lag because when I'm talking, and I didn't stop my clock, but
yeah, it's just not good, man.
I have no problem calling in.
So another brother, just let him refresh, go out, and come back in.
That's not gonna do anything, Mike. That only work on the other.
Promise. We've been doing the hangout since Kim on trial. It'll work.
You want me to go out and come back in? I can.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, right.
Okay, let me do that. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, so now that we got to unpack this today. We got to unpack this suitcase, man.
Just bring your ass through August the 12th, brother. That's all. We'll get you like that.
You know I'm coming, brother. That's going to be a honor for me, man. For real.
See, I want the people to be able to hear what's going on.
Yeah, I dig it.
Tamara, I really don't like your ass either, so you ain't saying nothing new.
Can you see me?
Yes, I see you.
I don't know if this connection is better.
Yes.
Can you hear me clearly?
I hear you. Until you start talking, it's going to mess up.
I think that could be a problem. I don't know what else to say.
Clear now. I told you.
I honestly know what else to
say.
Okay.
See, it's bad. It's not a good connection. See, it's bad, man. Mike, I see you real clear too, and you all the way out there.
Yes, and I wish I had.
I don't know what's going on. Are you able to hear me?
I hear you, Jabari, but you're going in and out. I don't know.
I got phone, Brother Michael.
Yes, but I got the 4G.
How are you connecting from a phone?
So it's kind of strong.
There's no way that connecting from a phone could be faster than cable.
LTE.
There's connection from here to where we are.
4G. Try it on your phone.
You want me to try to connect to my phone?
Yes, brother. Try it.
Nah, but then you ain't gonna be able to show the slides, Jabari.
Listen, if I have to, what I'll do is I'll just put them on the screen as best I can. I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, we're gonna have to just wait till Michael come in town, man. Or if you call in, hold on. If you call in, you just can't show slides. Just call in.
Yeah, just do that, because I'm not showing slides. I'm working straight off the text.
I could do that. What works?
Yeah, because I'm working straight off
I had
the
a lot of
text.
stuff
I'm
to
not even showing no slides.
Yo, Jabari, man, you know what it is, man?
Hold on, hold.
Jabari, you have me? I just come over, man, and get your and just film you, man. That's all.
No.
What do you mean? Come over to your house?
No.
Come over there, you mean?
No, let Michael throw up a video,
Yeah.
and then I throw up a video with you. Answering
No,
all.
brother. No, sir.
Well,
no.
we can't do it like this. It's messed up.
Okay, watch this. I promise. Here's another offer. If I come in August, which I am, as I've already cleared it out, can we set aside an hour and a half before or after our event for me?
No, we're gonna all be together on that Saturday and Friday. We're gonna have 2 days to build. Everybody's gonna be in town that Friday.
When are you leaving, Brother Mike? When are you here?
The day I haven't got the confirmation number, but as soon as I get it, I'm gonna leave the day of it.
The day before, you're gonna leave on a Saturday.
Yeah, whenever the flight is.
But I'm saying, how long will you be here? You're leaving on the same day?
Oh, well, I'll be able to stay as long as they set it up for. I got at least a week that I've taken off from my things that I got to do. So it'll be, you know.
So maybe what we could do is we could meet the Sunday or.
Yeah, that too. No,
that works. We'll
Sunday is the event.
Say again?
Yeah, I just wish we could do it today, man, because so many of these people been chomping at the bit for this, and they've been waiting. I know they mad now.
I don't know what else to say.
The only other
now
way
you guys are breaking up.
The only other way on the phone, and Sarnetta doesn't really want to do it that way.
No, we can do it on the phone, but Jabari want to show slides.
But I mean, if I have to do it on the phone, I will. If I have to, I will.
Okay.
It's not as good, but you know, I believe that I'll actually, even in that manner.
Will I be able to hear him in real time, sir?
Yeah.
Because I'm writing notes as he speaks.
Yeah, you'll be able to hear him.
Okay. Let's try it, man. It's worth a try. We didn't try it all.
Okay, use these accounts.
All right, call in, Jabari. I don't even want to do it. I want to wait now because it's bullshit.
I don't know what to say.
I understand, son.
I'm trying to actually go to Google Hangouts on my phone. Let's see.
Yeah, please try that first before we do anything else.
I'm trying really quickly. Let's see.
Okay.
I have never used Google Hangouts on my phone.
It's the same way. Just go in and click the link.
Okay, so now I have to just go to the link, right?
Right. Click that link, and it's going to ask you.
Okay, give me a second here.
Yeah, just follow the prompts.
Okay. How was that?
You using your phone?
Yeah, this is my. Wait, let's see. Continue. That's my phone. Wait, let me
mute this. Let me
mute it.
How's that?
Uh-oh, that might work. Yeah. It might work.
Why in the world my phone would work better than my computer, I have no clue. So what you want to do? You want to do it like this?
Yeah.
Okay. Saw, what you think?
All right, listen, we're going to use your phone for your voice, and you're going to use your slides for your other one over here, both of them.
Hold on a second. Let me mute the, okay. All right. Can you hear?
Yeah. I hear. Go ahead. You got to start over now. Your shit got to start over.
Start the whole presentation up. People were not hearing me, huh?
All right, let's go, man.
I'm not in the YouTube room, so I can't hear any of it. Okay.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
Let's see how I can get this done. First of all, let me say very quickly that Brother Michael has actually said that I made a comment in one of my response videos to him that sodomy is just that which comes from Sodom. And I want to be clear that that is not quite what I said. I was actually being, and I said in the video that I was being facetious, that in actuality what I said was that how in the world could he use the word sodomy when Sodom doesn't even exist when Kemet is in its heyday? And that essentially what I was saying is that the grandchild is attempting to tell the grandparents about social mores with regard to sexual, appropriate sexual interactions. And I thought that that was ludicrous. Now, let's be very clear. Let's be extremely clear here. Sodom is actually, the name sodomy comes from the biblical story of a land of Sodom. That's where it comes from. So I want to be absolutely clear that I understand as well that Brother Michael is actually asking a broader question that I have no problem with challenging. He is actually saying, some folks are saying that I'm too low. I'd like to see if I can try to change that. What he's actually saying is that we are in a situation where Kemet, so folks are saying they can't hear me. Okay. I don't know how to, I hope that you're able to hear me. Sonetta, can you change my audio? Most people in the video are now saying they can't hear me. No, some people are saying the volume is good. Listen, I'm going to just go through it.
Turn up your phone. Turn up your phone.
But my phone is just the speaker. It's not the actual audio. I don't think that's going to affect the two things. So I don't know. Can you see me?
Your audio is perfectly clear here.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the best I can here, and hopefully you're able to hear me, family. I honestly believe that even if you hear a tenth of what I'm saying, it would easily defeat the things that are being said by our brother, because he's saying things that are absolutely ludicrous. I'm gonna address whether we are in a situation where the neteru, the divine forces of characters, are actually engaging in inappropriate sexual interaction. And I'm also going to address this concept that a Sar is a human person, is someone that is actual, that is literal. And that is the commentary that our dear brother is saying. Now, let me say to you that you need to understand that one of the comments that our brother is making is that a Sar is a literal person because he has a family tree. That is crazy. Folks, a simple Google search would reveal to you that in his family tree are Geb and Nut. Search for Nut, family. Search the term Nut goddess, and you will see that Nut is actually the lady of the heavens. She is depicted with stars on her body. In the evening, this sacred, beautiful African goddess swallows the sun and gives birth to it in the morning. So you must understand that if a character is able to do that, we are talking in spiritual symbolism. By the way, her husband, her consort, is Geb. And Geb is usually depicted with green skin. He's depicted with green skin because Geb is the earth. By the way, in the sacred myth that even Brother Michael has related to in one of his earlier videos, Brother Michael makes a lot of videos. I wish you could actually look at some of them. You'll see that he actually contradicts himself quite often. You'll actually see that Geb and Nut were separated by their father. Now, what separates the heavens and the earth? Their father is Shu. Their father is air. So clearly you understand that this is a philosophical description of the way that the world works and the way that energy manifests itself on this plane. Now, if they are born, if they give birth if they are in the lineage of a Sar, then what you are seeing is we are talking about great symbolism. By the way, Asar, and I said this, I'm not sure if you were able to see it. Asar is usually depicted with, is often depicted, let me say, is often depicted with plants growing from his body. And the reason why you see him with plants growing from his body is that there's actually a commentary about resurrection, sacred resurrection. He is a symbol of resurrection. He is a symbol of the everlasting soul. He is murdered and then resurrected. And in his resurrection, he allows the rest of us to be able to be resurrected. That is the way that this works. By the way, that story might sound very similar to you, that a deity must die in order for the rest of us to be able to have access to a divine life. And the reason why it sounds similar is because it is the same story that we hear in the story of Yeshua, in the story of Jesus. So I want you to be very clear that this is a situation where we are talking about sacred imagery. By the way, all of you probably know that Asar was cut into 14 pieces, that his great queen put them back together, and his son and his queen were able to resurrect him. What human, what literal being could do that sort of thing? The concept of saying that simply because Asar has a soul means that he is actually literal is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't even know how else to describe it. In addition to that, in the text that the brother read, and I want you to know that it seems that Brother Michael has read one or two papyri, and he wants to point out things that sound unusual to him. You have to understand there are thousands of papyri. I have been reading these texts for decades. So if you see something that looks unusual in one text, perhaps you should speak to someone who is more learned than you. Enroll in my class on the history of Kemet. Come to my regular worship sessions that happen every other week. I'm not saying you have to be in Harlem, dear brother. We go Facebook Live. If you want more information, get it. And this also goes to the statement that he made, that he believes that those in the land of Kemet have been practicing omission. And he said that this is something he feels ever since Kemet on trial. The reason why our dear brother feels that way is because he's sorely mistaken that debates are an opportunity for comprehensive instruction. They don't occur that way. In a debate, all you're doing is addressing issues with other parties. This is not an opportunity for a full discussion of a tradition. And so I want you to understand that that concept doesn't really make sense. So let me read what he read, because I think that he doesn't even understand what he read. And it comes from plate 7 of the Papyrus of Ani. I'll show you what I'm reading from, since he seems to show you what he's reading from. And the reason why I like this one is because it has the glyphs. You could read it for yourself if you disagree with the translation. But this is the portion that he misconstrues. It says, he is Osiris. Now, let's be clear. Osiris is a Greek name. I use the term Asar because I am an African, and I am going to reference those names that my African ancestors use. I'm not beholden to the Greeks. So it says, he is Asar. Who is he? He is Asar. Otherwise said, his name is Re. His name is praise of Re. He is the soul of Re, with whom he himself copulated. I want you to be clear that he's not understanding the pronouns. Perhaps if he was able to actually read the text in its original form, he would understand the pronoun. The he in this sentence is not related to Asar. Asar is not a creation deity. Asar is a resurrection force. The he who copulated with himself is Re. And he wants to say this is literal. Folks, when you go outside on a hot day like the one I'm having in Harlem today, and you feel that sun beating down on you, you might say the sun rays are beating down on me. Do you actually recognize that the term you're using references the divine force of your African ancestors? You can't even talk about a sunny day without paying homage to your African ancestors, because the term sun ray is an acknowledgement of Re or Ra. This is not a literal character. You know, family, that Re who sits behind me, as you see him with the sun on his head, is a manifestation of the divine force of the Son. This is not a literal character. Now, I want you to be clear. Simply because he's not literal doesn't mean that the description is not of importance. I think that is the reason why our dear brother is so confused in this regard. He believes that if it's literal, it's important. Why does he have that misconception? Because the way that he understands his Abrahamic tradition was manipulated by Europeans. I want you to get a copy. I told Brother Tazariak to get this book. I really hope he has. Get a copy of this book, Jesus Wars. There's so many others that will give you a better understanding of the history of Christianity, the history of the text that you're reading. Because you're going to say, I'm not a Christian, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. Yeah, but you're reading the same text, brother. Take a look at this one, the Jesus Mysteries. I could literally, by the way, you should understand this. These are just 2 books from my library. I could show you the dozens that I've read that have explained this story. If you're just reading the Bible, you're just reading the books that were curated. You should understand that there were many other books that were used by early Christians and Jews. And some of those books were decided not to be included in what you consider your canonical Bible. Who made that decision? Europeans made that decision. The Tom who made that decision. African, you didn't make that decision. In fact, let's go further. We know that some of the text, and this is something that you can research very easily. I'm going to show you some research in a moment if I have time. I want you to also recognize that some of these texts as well are coming almost literally from Kemetic texts, from earlier Kemetic texts. So as you understand that, you have to understand that the Bible is a series of decisions. Every spiritual text is. I'm not trying to tell you that my text come from some sacred source that wasn't actually inhabited by the hands of humans. What I am actually saying to you is that we hope that divine, intelligent individuals have made decisions on how you should be a divine being.
Jabari, do you see your time?
Yeah.
Do you see your time?
I don't, because I'm...
All right, you got 3 minutes. You got 3 minutes.
Okay.
3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so I want you to understand that this is a great problem with some of the description that our dear brother has. I'm not sure if you're able to see this. I just want to show you some of these really quickly. First of all, one of the things that you need to understand is that the individuals, the Kemetic tradition is not the only tradition that has mythological characters. Not by far. In actuality, you should, in fact, I'm not going to even show you the slide. Let me give you a quote, okay? Because some of you are going to say, well, he's making a claim. Where's his source? Well, this one is an article called Deconstructing the Walls of Jericho. It was in the Biblical Archaeological Review, and it was actually in Haaretz magazine. And it says, here's the article that's printed. It says, by the way, this was actually issued in October 1999. It says, following 70 years of intensive excavations in the land of Israel, archaeologists have found out that patriarchs' acts are legendary stories. We did not sojourn in Egypt or make an exodus. We did not conquer the land. Neither is there any mention of the empire of David or Solomon. To those who take an interest have known these facts for years, but Israel is a stubborn people and doesn't want to hear about it. This is what archaeologists have learned from their excavations in the land of Israel. The Israelites were never in Egypt. They did not wander in the desert, did not conquer the land in the military campaign, did not pass it on to the 12 tribes of Israel. Perhaps even harder to swallow is that the united monarchy of David and Solomon, which is described in the Bible as a regional power, was at most a small tribal kingdom. And it will come as an unpleasant shock to many of the God of Israel, Yahweh, that he actually had a female consort, and that the early Israelite religion adopted monotheism only in the waning period of the monarchy and not at Mount Sinai. I want you to be clear. I could read these all day, family. It has been 40 years since biblical archaeologists have told you that these stories are not actual factual stories. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not just a historian. I'm also a priest. I'm speaking to you primarily as a historian today, but let me speak to you as a priest for a second. Simply saying that something didn't occur in history does not mean that it is not an important concept. But when you try to be so literal, like my dear brother is being, what he's doing is he's actually taking the spirituality out of this text. And that is a grievous error. That is also why when he reads the Kemetic text, he looks for things that are literal. This is a problem. These are clearly not literal characters. Do you think that Ra, who he believes is literal, is a dude with a bird with a sun on his head? Is that what he's arguing? I'm not arguing that, and I'm a proponent of ancient Kemet. So, I know that my time is short. Brother Sa, how much more time is there?
Time is no more.
Okay, wonderful.
Just went
now listen,
out.
I struggled with showing you the images, but I hope that the family was still able to hear.
Okay, Brother Michael Edwards, we want to give you 10 minutes. Going at this time, 10 minutes, and then Jabari 10 minutes, and then I will let y'all ask each other questions. Brother Michael is on you. The time is,
All right.
Hold on, Mike.
Okay.
Hold on, Michael. I want everybody to look at their time right now so we can see it. What time you got, Jabari?
I gotta set up another clock. Give me a
All
second.
right, hold on. It is 4. It is 4.
I had it on my phone.
Hold on, everybody relax. It is 4:16. It is 4:17. Michael, you got 10 minutes. Let's go.
All right. Well, what you just heard, mute your line, Jabari, so I can make sure.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let's see if do I know how to do that on here? Give me 1 second.
Yeah. All right. So now, with all due respect to this brother, and like I said, I don't disrespect this brother. I honestly honor this brother. But I honestly must tell you the truth. That was a shameful representation of Kemet. One more time, that was shameful. Now, the reason I say that is shameful is because, number one, you ended up in my document before you properly addressed the claims that I gave you. I gave you some very deep assertions. And I know those things are hard to keep up with, but you should be taking notes, brother, because this is a debate. Now, let me recap the things that you said, and then I'm going to go further into my presentation. You said, again, the mistake of saying sodomy as relates to the place in the Bible is only connected through the place. Brother, do you not understand that there is no place named Sodom today, but there is a definition for sodomy? One more time, you said there is no sodomy without Sodom. But I'm telling you, there is no Sodom today, but there are sodomites and the act of sodomy. Clearly, you dropped it on that point. Number two, you dropped the ball on incest, and it was an opportunity to correct and to be honest. The priesthood of Kemet was deeply enthralled in incest. I don't care how hurtful that is to hear it. It is the truth. And it is the truth so much so that that very same incestuous model is reflected in your gods. Case in point, the Papyrus of Tamanu that I asserted to you before is written on 3 levels: the pictorial level, the Medu Neter, and then the interpretation. The Papyrus of Tamanu was not passed around like a newspaper. It was a document, holy document, set apart for a reason. Let me tell you the reason, since my brother Jabari didn't want to tell you. The reason is to teach creation. One more time, y'all. The Papyrus of Tamanu is indeed a creation papyri that depicts mass, matter, weather, event, and even as relates to weather event. Listen closely. This is the real priestly teaching concerning that. The first level is the pictorial, an arched body, nut. A man with a penis erect all the way up to the sky, Geb, the earth. The father on the side, Shu, the wind. Prime elements of creation: wind, sky, earth. The earth has all of the elements of the creation within it: iron, zinc, phosphorus, all of those things. Moisture, and how moisture relates to matter and mass is what Nut depicts as an arched body. And the father, which is Shu. And in every cosmology, there is a tale of a family lineage. That is called omission. Now, when you look at the Papyrus of Tamanu, you must understand that without words, without Medu-Neter, and without an interpretation, it is left up to the eyes of the person looking. Let me speed this up because I want to pack some more into this. You know what the word learning tools are. When you're in lower education, primary school, they give you what are called learning tools to spark things in your mind that you would go on deeper in your research and your study. This is what the Papyrus of Tamanu is. It is a simple depiction for a people from ages 0 to all the way up. You don't have to teach them what mass, matter, event, and all of those things are as relates to science and deep science. But as a learning tool, when you show that to the common people in Kemet, they are able to relate that all of these forces are coalescing to come together to form your earth, to form your earth. And it even has aspects of tangible nature in that papyrus, like the ostrich feather. Ostriches don't live in the great by and by, Brother Jabari. So I'm saying to you, either whoever created that papyrus was confused, or they disagree with you and they agree with me that the papyrus itself is a learning tool. But guess what else? It gets deeper. It gets deeper because, again, that I said, incest is a mainstay in Kemetology and the priesthood of Kemet. When you have classism to the degree that you won't even marry outside of your family, that is called by normal people that are saying incest. The Papyrus of Tamanu on the textual pictorial level, the learning tool level, not the quantum level, is incest. I don't care how you look at it, because in the cosmology, Shu is the father of both. Point proven. Incest. Now, how do you not deal with that? You tell everybody, Jabari, that there is questionable presentation about Tamanu, and that you are to learn science not through soft porn, brother, but you learn science through replicable models. You use science and teach it through equation and even linguistic, which you didn't take the time to teach our people. I did just now. And I would go deeper if we had 20 minutes into the Papyrus of Tamanu. But let me go deeper into another mainstay. Again, the 22nd confession of Ma'at is violated in the same book that it is written in by the god called Osiris. Now, let me remind you, on plate 7A and 7B, where it talks about copulating, if you do it with yourself, it is wrong, brother. There is no creation without Ba-Ka, but also male and female. Yes, yes, yes. And so when I told your brother Jehuti that these Neteru are androgynous, he didn't even know the word definition, obviously. Because if you have your penis in your mouth swallowing semen, you obviously must be a woman also on the inside. The principle and the textual level is the same. You can't get away from it. Also, most of the nature principles that are depicted as beings, not inanimate objects like the sun, are depicted with one male titty and one female breast. Jabari,
2 minutes.
Okay, Atem is depicted that way, and so is all of the other natural that are giving birth and creating life through themselves. Like Ray. Ray chooses to cut his penis, phallic cutting, to drip blood. But the blood, life is in the blood. But where is the coupling factor? Where is the female and male principle? It is in these people. It is present. And that makes them androgynous. And it also makes them literal, because they not only have, again, you so badly pointed out, brother, they have souls. Osiris is the soul of Re. And also, Hunefer Papri and the Papri of Ani proves what I say when you look at the end of the hymn to Osiris. It joins Ani's Ka with Osiris's Ba. Let me say that one more time. In the Papyrus of Ani, the literal man Ani is joined with the literal soul of Osiris. He is called Osiris Ani. Same in the Papyrus of Hunefer. And the same with every rich person that was in Kemet that died. They all had a different understanding than you do. These people had souls. They had offerings. They ate. They talked. They ruled, even with a crown. Atem and Osiris.
Time.
In my closing statement. Closing statement.
Go ahead, brother.
Closing statement. Huh?
Go ahead.
Closing statement. Okay. The particular papyri right here is 7a. 7a talks about something very, very precarious that this brother will not bring to you. It talks about the relationship of Osiris and Atem as relates to Re. One more time, Atem and Osiris as relates to them both sharing Re as a mode of communication. You didn't tell us about that, Jabari. But the papyrus says the Ba of Osiris, the soul, tomorrow, yesterday, and all, brother. This is all literal. And I'm going to dig in more because we haven't got to the worst part yet.
All right, let's go. Let's give it up for Michael, man. My man Mike going in. Mike ain't playing. All right, brother Jabari, the time is 4:28. You got 10 minutes, brother Jabari. It's
now,
4,
please.
It's
Brother Mike,
4:28.
please mute your mic, please, brother Michael.
Yes,
We don't have issues.
brother.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me get it right now.
Mute
It
your
is
mic.
4:29. Let's go.
Okay, I want to say really quickly that it's hard to eat. Some of this is so difficult to listen to that I want to try to deal with it seriously. But one of the first things you have to understand is simply saying the word literal doesn't make it literal. I mean, just because you say this is literal doesn't mean it's literal. You have to prove it in a debate, brother. And you have not even attempted to do that. Maybe you're not aware of how to do that. By the way, even if you knew how to do that, you wouldn't be able to, because this is really clear that this is not a literal story. I don't even understand why you would say that. Now, by the way, I'm going to try to deal with 5 major points really quickly. First of all, I want to be clear that when I say sodomy, I want you to know that the word sodomy comes from the Kemetic, the ancient, I don't even know if I should even call it ancient, the biblical description of this particular land. That's where the word comes from. Just because the land is not there today doesn't mean that they're not referencing a biblical description. By the way, many of the lands that are described in the Bible are not there. Several of them are mythological. So I'm not sure why you think that that's a point here. By the way, he believes that sodomy occurs because we are talking about a deity that takes his seed into his own hand. I want you to be clear that if you were looking at this linearly, that would sound very bizarre. But you have to understand that you're not talking about a human being. You're talking about energy. And because you're talking about energy, it doesn't work according to the same laws. They're talking to you about how the actual stuff of the world was created. So I don't know if you can see this, family. I want to read. I really hope you can see this. This is a slide that comes from the Book of Knowing the Evolutions of Ra and Overthrowing of Heth. And because I don't know if you can read it, I'm going to just read this small piece really quickly. It talks about how Ra actually closes his hand and receives his seed, and he embraces his shadow as a wife. He poured the seed into his mouth, and from there, he created the gods, Shu and Tefnut. By the way, Shu, I told you, is air. Tefnut is the moisture quality. So what you're really talking about is how the world was created. Don't be so literal. We're not talking about real semen. Semen comes from human beings. We're talking about seed. What is a seed? A seed is the microcosm of the organism that it represents. They are saying that this divine character is able to create all things from himself. Now, let's be clear. You don't even recognize that that would be a challenge in the Kemetic tradition because your tradition is patriarchal. In our tradition, they saying himself would say, wait a minute, if there has to be male and female energy, how could there be just a male? In this instance, they want to tell you that female energy is so important that even the hand that receives the seed is female. That's what they're trying to say. Now, you have to understand that these teachings come to us from people who studied the divine energy for over 40 years. This was not something that they would teach on a street corner. If they did, folks who have little understanding like yourself would be confused. This is about how energy occurs. By the way, when you talk about science, you're talking about something that comes from Kemet. Even the field of chemistry was called alchemy. It was a reference to Kemet. So don't school me about science. Learn your traditions. They're not my traditions. They're our traditions. But you're confused. And so that is the challenge we have. By the way, he talks about incest. I know I don't have a lot of time. I really want to get to this really quickly. He talks about incest. I don't even know if you can see this slide. But I want you to be clear that incest is all, oh wait, I'm not going to show you this one yet. I'm going to get to that one next. I want you to understand that incest is all throughout the Bible. Now, these are mythological characters, right? They're not literal people. But Abraham marries his half-sister, right? And Deuteronomy, which is the book of laws that describe what is appropriate, doesn't seem to prohibit sex between a father and a daughter. Abraham's brother married his niece. By the way, if you want to do something really bizarre, now you got to look at me for this one, family. One of the claims that Brother Michael makes in one of the many videos that he puts forward is that he actually says that in Kemet, mothers had sex with their sons. Brother Michael, I challenge you to find me when a royal family did that. Usually when things that we might consider incest today occurred, you would see a half-brother marry a half-sister. That's how it occurred. And it was like that in much of the ancient world, not just in Kemet. And if you think that that's funny, first of all, you're not going to find parents being intimate with their children, but you will in the Bible. How about you tell me about the story of Lot's daughters who intoxicate their father so they could take his seed in Genesis 19 verses 30 to 38. I don't understand what you're talking about here. These things happen in your Bible. You should be more familiar with your text than I am. you have to understand that incest is in many different places, many different places. And Lot is a really interesting character because even in a description of when angels come and visit him as visitors, and there is a mob of crazed people who want to have sex with those angels, Lot doesn't defend them by saying, I'm going to fight for your honor. Guess what Lot does? Lot offers the mob his virgin daughters. What is that about? You have to explain to me, brother, if that is not sexual incongruity, if that is not the most vile action in your Bible. By the way, I'm not going to even tell you, for those who are not familiar with the Bible, who Lot is. Lot is a very important character, related to an even more important character. We're not talking about minor characters in a tradition. And you, brother, think this is literal. I would argue to you that Lot is even a myth. Lot did not exist. But if you want to be literal, then you literally deal with the challenges in your own text. I'm telling you that this is not literal. How about the Levite that has a sex slave in the Bible? How about that story? And he actually, and once again, there's a mob of people looking to have sex with men. This happens a lot in your text. And what does this Levite do? He sends them his concubine, his sex slave, and she is actually raped all night long. In the morning, when he opens his door, he finds her at the doorstep. What does he do? He doesn't say, I have transgressed against our laws. I have done wrong to this woman. Forgive me, Creator. He eviscerates her. He cuts her apart. You have to understand that your text has many, many more challenges with sexuality than the ancient Kemetic text. So please, if you live in a glass hut, don't throw stones. This is a real problem for you, brother. And then he wants to talk about the case of penis cutting. Now, I'm going to tell you that the penis, or the henanu, is not literal. In this instance, we're talking about the henanu of Ra. Ra's the sun. We're talking about how energy, the phallus in this instance, the henanu, is a procreative device. The sun doesn't have a penis. Do you think the sun has a penis? Why don't you go outside and look at the sun, Brother Michael? See if you see a penis or a vagina. This is about energy. So when they say they cut the penis and the blood comes forth, your Kemetic ancestors did not have the hang-ups with their body that the Talmud.
2 minutes.
And because, yes, and because you're following their traditions and you haven't re-Africanized your tradition, you are making the same errors that they're making. And that's the reason why you're confused. But let's talk about penis cutting. What about this one in the Bible? In Deuteronomy, it says, circumcise your heart and stiffen your neck no longer. What is that about? How about 1 Samuel, where Saul asked for a dowry? He asked David for a dowry, and he tells him he wants him to bring him the foreskins of 200 Philistines. And David actually does it. By the way, this image is an image of David. It's an image created later. I don't want to give you the impression it was actually in the Bible, but it's an image of David presenting Saul with the foreskins of 200 Philistines. You have no ability to challenge me in this issue, brother. By the way, you even said that creation is about male and female. Then why in the world, in your tradition, you have deities that do not have female consorts? How do you create in the world this way? With a son, a father, and a bird, a ghost. I'm teasing you when I say a bird. I understand that's the Holy Ghost. Early Christians often believed that the ghost was feminine. Those Christians were eviscerated, were annihilated. They don't exist anymore. So generally it's believed that those are male forces. If you want to say that something bizarre is going on sexually to create the world, deal with your tradition. How do you have 3 male forces creating? If you have 3 male forces creating, is that not what you would consider sodomy, brother? Be very careful here. You are disrespecting your ancestors. And it's sad that you haven't even taken the time to truly understand the traditions that you speak of. You read 1 or maybe 2 books. Brother, you have to do much more reading in order to come with this in any sort of understanding. Now, Brother Sa, how much more time do I have? Do I have more time to show you anything else?
Tom, you got 1 minute grace period. Let's go.
Let me say this. I'm not even take a full minute. Take a look at this image. You are seeing Ast, Asar, and Heru. In ancient Kemet and as well in all of ancient Africa and much of the ancient world, not just in Africa, because many of those traditions came from Kemet. You actually see male, female, and child. And I'm going to tell you something else. You want to mention Elohim, you better understand that that comes from El. I know you guys are going to say it's power, but why would you call a pagan deity power? El is the word of an earlier Canaanite deity who had Asherah. El had a wife. Maybe you would be better off going back to that tradition than the patriarchal, literal tradition that you're in. With that, I'm done.
All right. Brother Michael, it's on you, my brother. We're going to go back with 10 more minutes and then 10 more, and then we're going to open up for the questions.
All right. Well, again.
Hold up, Michael.
Yo.
I want you to know it is 4:41. Go ahead.
All right. Well, again, you saw the Kemet Shuffle. Mute your line, Sonetta. Mute your mic. What you saw is called the Kemet Shuffle. What exactly my problem is with these people? They would rather have me, a learned Israelite priest, come and teach you the Papyrus of Ani and teach you the Bible. That's a shame. It's a shame that you wouldn't come with what is called science. You call this stuff science, but you're only making up stuff and freestyling. You haven't shown me one bit of methodology. You haven't spoken one word of Meduneche, and you have not read more than one paragraph of your text. Horrible. One more time, just out of love, horrible representation of Kemet science. If you represent a science, you teach the science. You don't start pointing fingers. Now, if you want me to teach the Bible to you, I'll do that. But guess what? I'm not a master of omission. Brother, I'm going to start with your biblical questions. And I'm going to show you how simple it is to own up to your books, to not hide and omit. The book of wisdom in the Apocrypha, in the Septuagint, this one, the African Bible, okay? The one that was created right in your land by your kings. And I know you don't want to accept the Ptolemaic dynasty, but just like all the other honkies that came into Kemet throughout all of the dynasties, you got to accept Philadelphus, Sotir, and all of the other nutbags that wanted to politicize culture, that wanted to politicize truth and priesthood. So we come up with this book, but this book is your death. You just asserted that my God doesn't follow the creation model that he himself set up. You don't know what you're talking about. The book of Genesis relates that human, Adam, not just the Adam and Eve that you know, or Adam and Hawa, but human, man, is a conglomerate principle. One more time, a conglomerate principle of female and male. In his image created he them. Male and female created he them. In the book of Genesis, there's only one mention of one creation that is embodied in the man Adam. In him is a female principle. This is what Genesis 2 relates to when it says that the rib was drawn from man, and there lies a woman called Hawa, the mother of all living. What are you talking about? female principle in the book of Apocrypha that talks about the Hokmah, or the wisdom of the Elohim, the great power, is related to as a she. Jabari, you haven't been through school, through any seminary, if you haven't read this document. If you're only talking about the majority text, you're tripping. This is the African Bible, my brother. All right, now let's move on a little bit further. El, the same term that I told my brother Zion. I'm going to hurry up because I want to hit you. I want to get you back in what you won't teach. But I'm showing you what priests do. We don't back up. El is indeed a Canaanite term. But listen, think. The Bible in the book of Joshua says that Joshua and all of the Israelite tribes did what? Cleaned out Canaan. You heard me? Because of giantism and genetic maladies. And so they indeed became Canaanites because of where they lived and where they took kingdom up at. Now, if they're Canaanites, then that should tell you a whole, that story should smack differently. It should smack differently, but maybe not to a master of omission. So let me move on because I don't want to get too deeply enthralled in the Bible, bro. You said El. El is a Canaanite deity, but El is just a title. In the book of Psalms and in 2 other places in the Bible, it talks about this. El stands in the congregation of the mighty. Do you know what that means? In English or in Hebrew? I'm assured that you don't. El is a title, a descriptive title that talks about powers. So again, the generic term that we use, God, can be assigned to El. My friend Moshe was called El Moshe in the Torah. In English, I will make you a god to Pharaoh. El Moshe, a title. There's nothing to hide. That's why I told Zion, why are you hiding that? Don't run from this stuff. The Bible qualifies everything. Now, I just shot you down out of my book, but now let me shoot you down out of yours. Autofellatio, I don't care how you want to put it. Here's the litmus test. If autofellatio is okay, let me see you teach it to your baby. Let me see you teach your child creation and how prime man was created and all of the greatness that is within the prime man, which is us. You teach it through a man flipped over on his back in a C shape with his penis jammed down his throat and another male entity over him with a penis as long as his upper body. If you did that, you'd be in prison next to Dr. York. But that's what's in your books. That's what's in your books. And let me tell you, you can't metaphysically copulate, bro. The 22nd Confession of Ma'at talks about wrongful copulation. That's not masturbation. You fooled Tazariak. Tazariak don't understand what you do, but I do. You're talking about masturbation. I'm talking about copulation, the thing that makes you a sodomite. Grabbing your member is not sucking your own penis.
1 minute, Mike.
All right, and I'm going to end the 1 minute with this reading again that the brothers keeps running from. Autofellatio, 22, Declaration of Innocence, no wrongful copulation. But here you have Ray, the soul, the praise. Osiris, the soul and the praise of Ray. You have him depicted giving himself head. Then on the papyrus of Hinutawi, there is 2 witnesses. Osiris doing it here and Geb doing it there. And you're going to tell us that ain't literal? How disrespectful to these people can you be? How disrespectful to children can you be that may want to learn the arts of science through ancient culture, but you won't even tell them some of this shit ain't right. There was insane people dealing with these things. Geb doing it over here, Osiris doing it over there, Ray's in the corner somewhere cutting his penis. And it's all written in a book. And you're telling us it's science, but you're giving us no equation. How do you build a pyramid with cutting your penis and giving yourself autofellatio, metaphysically or literally? How do you do that? When the book says you have a soul, the Ba and the Ka, the Nefesh and the Ruach, from both of these cultures cohabitating, speak of the same literality.
Time.
You playing games.
Time. Brother Jabari, here's your last 10 minutes. Brother Jabari, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, brother.
Me?
I hear you now.
Can you hear me?
I hear you, Brother Jabari.
Great.
The time, my Brother Jabari, as you can see.
What's the time you got? Let's see. It's 4:51. Is that what you got?
It's the time, 4:51.
Okay.
Let's
Now,
go.
let me say to you that there are a lot of more important conversations that we could have with regard to our traditions. I'm a little tired continually talking about sexuality with Hebrew Israelites. And perhaps one of the reasons why this is a major thing to them is because we are talking about a tradition that was given to us by Europeans who have issues with their body. In your Kemetic tradition, you thought your body was sacred. If you actually read the deification of the members in the Kemetic text, it actually says to you, for example, I want you to look at plate 32, by the way. Read this for a quick second here. My face is of Ra, my two eyes are of Het Heru, my two ears are of Apuwat, my nose is of Kent Shept, my two limbs are of Anhu, my teeth are of Keperah, my neck is of Asta Divine, my two hands are of Kemenu, Lord of Tatu. I'm going to jump down because I want you to hear this. My backbone is of Set. My Henanu is of Asar. I want you to understand, and it goes to other portions of the body as well. Okay, and I'm reading this with the book with the glyphs. I like reading the ones with the glyphs so that you can actually look to see whether the Tom who translated it correctly. You could read it yourself. And so I want to say to you that you have to understand we're dealing with symbolism, but the symbol, the really important concept that you're missing is that all portions of your body are divine. That's the human principle you should get. And in terms of you not being clear about exactly how this occurs with the divine forces, using their henanu and using their henanets, the vagina, to create the world, I don't know how you're confused about that. Perhaps you're confused because all you've looked at is you've looked at three men creating the universe. If three men created the universe, what kind of intercourse were they having, Brother Michael? You have not answered that. I don't know why you continue to make these mistakes. By the way, I don't even know if you, I don't know why you think you answered a question. You didn't come close to answering the question. You say here that when I tell you that your creators have to be male and female, according to your own description, and according to the ancient African model, you actually said, well, you don't understand that human is a conglomerate principle. I'm not talking about humans. I know there are women. I'm married to a wife. I'm actually talking about your creator who is male. How are you confused about that? You didn't even come close to answering that question. You didn't even attempt to answer that question because you can't answer the question. And so I want you to listen carefully and understand. By the way, you are actually saying that the Israelites cleaned out the Canaanites. I want you to be clear that that is not what the archaeological record tells us. That's what the biblical record tells us. But you have to understand that the Bible is not a history book. It's a book that has some history in it. I'll give you that. But if you think that that makes it a history book, then you think the movie Braveheart is a documentary. You have to understand that the Bible does not give us history in the classical sense. And that most of the people that you're talking about, probably up until almost Ezra, are people that did not actually exist. They are people who are not literal characters. So let me read from Reconstructing let me read you another piece here. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, this is from McNutt. And I want you to hear that. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I don't have the time. But they're saying that the Babylonians come later. And that, as we mentioned, that Abraham is coming out of Ur of the Chaldeans, what they're doing is they're giving you an anachronism. Why is there an anachronism? Because you have to understand that this is not a historical story. There's so many different sources that are telling you that now. As long as you continue to look at it as a historical story, you're going to misinterpret your own text. And the reason why you're doing that is because the Europeans are telling you that. And I don't know why you don't recognize that simply saying that there's an African Bible. Show me how that Bible is African, brother. Show me how that Bible is African. I really want you to understand that all of those traditions were curated. I'm not saying that there weren't Africans that weren't involved in the creation of some of the early books. I'm a historian. I can tell you who some of those people were. But you must understand that the book that you have received is not the book that you think it is. The book that you have received is one that was actually utilized and curated by Tom Who. So take a look at this one. By the way, Moses being a historical character, we know that there were many, many Moses. I wish that I could go and read you more. Look at this one. This is the one I want you to read. Most histories of ancient Israel no longer consider information about the Egyptian sojourn, the Exodus, and the wilderness wanderings recoverable or even relevant to history's emergence, to Israel's emergence. Most important is the fact that no clear extra biblical evidence exists for any aspect of the Egyptian sojourn, Exodus, or wilderness wanderings. By the way, that's by Moore and Kelly in 2011. It's called Biblical History and Israel's Past, the changing study of the Bible and history. Brother, I could give you sources all day long. I almost feel like I shouldn't actually use my sources because there are going to be others of you that are going to want to engage in this debate. And I don't want to share all my sources because you're just reading things that you don't understand. And I don't get why you aren't listening. You want to just say that these individuals are actually historical characters. Why? You haven't told us why they are. Because they say they have a soul? By the way, you have to understand that in Kemet, there were 5 portions of the soul, not 2. You're only able to mention the Ba and the Ka because you're not familiar with the inner teachings. I am willing to teach you that. I'm willing to teach you that. But you have to be willing to receive it. And without being willing to receive it, I don't know what we're doing here. By the way, you never even talked about incest. The incest that's all throughout the Bible. Why didn't you even address that? You haven't addressed anything that I said. And I don't know how I can continue with someone who simply thinks that saying the word literal makes something literal. Why is it literal? I've told you about how Asar behaves. I've told you about how Ra behaves. You know that Shu and Geb are the air and the earth respectively. This is not hard for you to do research on. The problem is that you were doing research to try to defend something. All you need to do is actually read the sources. I'm not saying to you that your Bible is ridiculous and you should discard it. I'm saying you have to re-Africanize it. I'm not saying you can't be Hebrew Israelite or a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim for that matter.
2 minutes.
If you're going to be an African, you have to be able to return to your African sources.
2
Without
minutes.
returning to your African sources, what are you doing? This story about Kemet, about Israel actually not being a historical space for all of the patriarchs is something that has been settled for 40 years. I gave you a source initially that was quite early, and I just gave you a source from 2011. This has been settled for 40 years. Speak to any of the biblical or the Torah teachers. You said that I haven't gone to any sort of seminary. You don't know what my training is. You don't know that much about me. So how do you know what my training is? So this is something that you need to be able to do more research to understand. Brother, I love you, but please don't continue to be misguided and insult our ancestors. As long as you do that, as long as you will speak ill of our ancestors, as long as you go against ancient Africa, you will lose. It's that simple. I'm done.
All right, Brother Mike, this is where we at with the questions right now. The first question I have for you, Brother Michael.
Brother Sarnetta.
No, hold on.
You forgot the last time, brother. You forgot my response.
No. Listen to me.
Sarnetta, you forgot my response. I have the model in the text, bro.
Brother, it's no response, Mike. You went first. You forgot. Jabari went second. Then you went, and then Jabari. Now we here for the questions because I got to go at 6. I got another program
for me to respond, Sarnetta. I'm looking at the agenda right here.
Sarnetta, please, I'm asking you to let him respond.
All right,
even if I don't get a chance to, because you know what's going to happen. I don't want to get into an issue where they argue about the format.
All right, go ahead, Michael. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay.
It is. Right. Hold up. It is 5:02. Go. 10 minutes.
Okay, not a full 10. I don't need 10 because I don't want to be unfair.
All right, 5 minutes. It's 5:02.
It's 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes.
5 minutes. He went for 8, but that's good.
It's 5:02.
Let me tell you.
No, hold up, Mike. Mike, hold up. First of all, he went for 10. What is he talking about?
Right, I'll take the 10 then. I'll take the 10.
Mike, listen to me, brother. Slow down. You go 5 minutes, and then Jabari go 5 minutes, and then that's it.
Okay, did he just now not present? My presentation right now is a rebuttal.
No, it ain't.
You want me to go 10 minutes or 5?
No, listen to me good. You went first for the first 10 minutes. He came back and went 10 minutes. Then you went 10, and then he just finished 10. Now you're going for 5 more minutes, and then Jabari got to get 5 more minutes. If you
right, that's what I'm saying. Rebuttal. Don't act like there's no rebuttal to each round, brother. Come on.
All right, let's go. You got 5 minutes. Right. The time is. Hold on. The time is 5:03. Go ahead, Mike.
Now, again, you saw more terrible scholarship. Terrible. I'm going to give you what is called primary resources. So y'all can get off the pot and stop. Mute your line, Sarnetta. So that y'all can get off the pot. Stop disrespecting yourselves and disrespecting the people, telling them that the Israelites don't have proof of our existence. Brother, that's sad and it's disrespectful to the viewers, not to me, because I know better. When you look at King Hezekiah, just like Taharka was a multi-province king, King Hezekiah was a vassal. And King Hezekiah has inscriptions underground, still today, of a specific waterway. It is called the Siloam inscription. I read the whole damn thing for Garfield A. Reed a few years ago. That is a rock solid primary that proves the existence of King Hezekiah, that proves the existence of his cultural connection with Kemet and Canaan. And it also proves the existence of that people. Let's also give you the Gezer calendar, Gezer. It is a calendar that's in the Sinaitic script that deals with the Hebrew oral traditions of the calendar that we keep, which is not just solar or lunar, it's both. So the Giza calendar is a calendar that is for pulling flax and wheat. Real agriculture. Now, waterways, agriculture, cultural ties to other lands. Brother, you should never let that word pass through your mouth again, that the Israelites aren't real, because you stuck on Finkelstein and Haaretz, a Jew bug newspaper, and a terrible scholar himself. I just smashed that. You should never do that again. Now, you said that I continuously disrespect the ancestors. You made another boo-boo. I said that Osiris is literal. You just called him your ancestor. I said Osiris has a soul. You just called him your ancestor. Who else are you talking about? Because in this conversation, it's all framed around the Neteru. You calling them your ancestors now? How are they not literal? I don't think you know what you believe. And you're just like the woman that came to Jesus Christ. But Christ told her that, lady, you know not what you worship. But the time and day will come when the true worshipers, and that time is now and was even then. Brother, God is looking for those that will worship him in spirit and truth, not manipulation, not omission, and not you sitting up here making a shame of your culture because you have disrespected the ancestors. You won't teach them. You won't even say that they're literal. But out of the same double tongue, you call them ancestors. That's called insanity, Jabari. And that is pseudo scholarship at its finest, my dear brother. Now, let me give you another aspect of literality and prime proof about the Israelite culture, since you want to get out of y'all stuff and into the Bible. But that's where I excel, baby. Right on the cover of this book, I talked to Dr. Williams about it, Professor Williams, which I respect to the hilt. I honor that brother. And I honor Sarnetta for bringing me and putting me in the ring with him. Coins. I talked to Saka Amos about this. Ayudea Kata. The capture of my people, the Judeans.
1 minute, brother, 1 minute.
The capture of my people that you said are fake. That Finkelstein and all these other devilish Edomites will not acquiesce with, because the minute they do, they will give you this word again, literal. That the Torah is of a literal living people, and they ain't white, Jabari. You disrespect your ancestors that lived in Kemet with my ancestors when you go listen to Finkelstein, when you won't teach the Papyrus of Talmud, and when you won't say that everybody in Kemet wasn't sane, because that's the truth. Everybody wasn't sane. There were some dynasties that were crazy, and you won't even present it. Now, I know this hurts, but I'm going to tell you, brother, when we get together, I'm going to take this up to the stratosphere, because this is just the opening. You don't know what we deal with, brother. And you continuously say, last statement, that we don't read. Bruh, that's all I do is read and teach. My life is to be a teacher and an open book.
We done. Brother Jabari, it is 5:09. You got the floor.
I just have to say to you, to the family, that I'm not sure what Brother Michael was listening to. He made 3 assertions that I never made. I never said any of the things that he just said. Who are you debating? Are you on another YouTube channel? Because I never, first of all, I never said that the Israelites don't have proof of their existence. I never said that to you. How could I say that? That would be ridiculous. I said that there's no proof of the patriarchs. Maybe he doesn't know who the patriarchs are. Brother, you are debating with a historian. I'm not just a Kemetic priest who reads Kemetic spiritual text all day long. I read history. I would never say to you Hezekiah didn't exist. Why would I say that? You need to understand, oh boy, you need to understand that I actually will argue that Hezekiah did exist, that Hezekiah was an actual person. But Hezekiah is not Moses, not Abraham. Hezekiah is not Joshua. Hezekiah is not David. Hezekiah is not Solomon. Hezekiah comes after. I even said to you that it's possible everyone before Ezra was mythological. Ezra comes before Hezekiah. Why are you not listening? You need to know your own history. So let's be really clear. I'm not arguing that Hezekiah, I know that Hezekiah built a waterway. I'm familiar with it. I'm not talking about Hezekiah. I'm talking about those individuals that came earlier being mythological. And the reason why I mention is because you are saying that all of these traditions must be literal. Of my tradition and much of your tradition is mythological. That was the point. I think you lost it. So I don't understand where you're going there. Then you said that I said that Asar is mythological, and then I called him an ancestor. I never said Asar was an ancestor. Where did you hear that? I said you're disrespecting your ancestors because you are disrespecting, and he unmutes to laugh. That's really disrespectful. But you are disrespecting the greatest wisdom of African people who gave civilization to the world. That's what I'm saying. I never said Asar is an ancestor. Asar is a neter. He's one of the neteru. So you're confused. And then you said that I said that the Hebrews were white. I think that it's likely that some of the Hebrew people, if not all the Hebrew people, were people of color. I think that some of the record is still unclear about whether they were an African people in the sense that we would use African today. But even if I was willing to say to you that they were people of African descent, what I'm saying to you is that you're reading texts that were manipulated by Europeans. That is a fact. That is a fact. Look at the Council of Nicaea. Look at, there are several councils of Nicaea. Look at the actions of Constantine. I could go on and on and on. Theodosius. Maybe these are names that you don't know because you're not reading history. You're just reading the Bible. You have to read history to understand and even to step into the ring with me. Right now, you're still on the outside of the ring looking in. And I warmed up. I've been shadow boxing myself. You have to actually respond to what I'm saying, brother. You can't just respond to someone who isn't here. That's not how this works. So please, if we're going to meet again, and I'm willing to do that, you have to do some more historical study. Don't just read the Bible. I didn't just read from you from the book of Coming Forth by Day. I didn't just show you Kemetic text. This is a historical debate as well. Maybe you're not clear about the aspect of this that is historical. I'm a historian and a priest. So I'm not talking to you primarily as a priest today. In fact, I even told you when I was talking about talking as a priest. I'm talking to you as a historian. And perhaps that's the reason why you are unclear about the parameters for debate. How could we debate our spiritual text? You don't debate spiritual text. You debate history. You have to debate facts. You can't debate what someone believes or myth. You can say whether a myth is actually apropos for a people. You could do that. But to debate myth as if it's history, what kind of activity is that? Dear brother, you can't just read two Kemetic texts. And you have to understand there are many. There are many. You can't just read two Kemetic texts and think you can jump in the ring with someone who is a historian, who has made 13 trips to the region, who has traveled extensively in Africa, who has seen the sites himself, who reads the text himself. You can't do this. You can't just come with me with the Bible. I would never disrespect you by just coming to you with my spiritual text. So you're not prepared for this discussion. And I'm saying that to you with love, because I want you to teach me. But right now, you're not able to teach me. Right now, all you can do is spout things that you heard in your worship service. You have to do more than that if you're going to be talking to our people about how we move forward in power. Peace.
All right, my brothers. You can keep your mic open, Jabari.
Okay.
What I want to say real quick, we down for the questions. The first question I have for you, Michael, because I got a show. I have a question for you, Michael. Within 2 minutes, and that's a long time. Can you give us an overview of the creation story of your Most High? Give us a creation story. Can you break that down real quick?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
In the beginning is the prime story of science. Mass. Close your lines, Jabari. Come up, brother, quickly, please.
What was that?
Close your lines so they can hear me clearly. Close your line.
Oh, I thought you said to keep my mic off. I can. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so when you look at Genesis chapter 1, you will see very prime elements, and some of the elements you may not want to agree with, but you will definitely see energy, kinetic energy even. You will definitely see water. You will definitely see darkness, and you will definitely see light. All of those things are aspects of creation that are not even dealt with on the Papyrus of Tamanu. The Papyrus of Tamanu only deals with physicality in creation, but electricity, kinetic energy, is not physical because you can't physically weigh it. It has no weight. You looking like that right there, but I got a biology book over there, and I got several other books that agree with what I'm saying. Now, again, the science of creation is just what I said, and it is in the book of Genesis. Darkness, light, water, motion or energy, kinetic energy, and most of all, consciousness, which is called wisdom, Chokhmah, or light. That's why you have 2 mentions of let us create light in the Bible. When you don't read Hebrew, then you may misunderstand it. But the first mention of light in Genesis chapter 1 is the light of wisdom, not the light of, the darkness that is ignorance. So you have 2 mentions of light. One is ray, and the other is wisdom.
All right, Mike. Now that's the first time I ever heard a Hebrew break that down without using none of their deities. The creation story. You use science in this creation story. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
In your own book, it says the science of this world is foolishness. So I'm gonna move over to Brother Jabari. Brother Jabari,
you're doing that again. You can't do that, Sonetta. You're the moderator. You can't do that.
Hold on, brother. What are you talking about? I didn't do anything.
Brother, you can't do that. That's really manipulative for you to destroy what I said with a statement from the moderator, bro. And you misquoted the Bible. You did that again.
Okay, I misquoted. I take that back. Let's scratch that off.
Damn.
We're gonna scratch that off. Brother Jabari, the question for you is this. I want you to give your creation story and talk about Geb, and will you teach that to your children about Geb? Because this is what the Hebrews always say. Will you teach this story to your children? You got 2 quick minutes. Go, brother.
Let me say very clearly that because the Kemetic people never actually argued that this was a literal story, there are at least 4 major creation stories. It's not simply one, because we're talking about how energy occurs, and each of the stories actually describe different sections of this. So let me talk for a second about Geb. I want to be really clear that in our tradition, the manner that the way this occurs is you see the divine entity create a firmament over the waters, over the great waters. And in that firmament, he says, Ma'at is with him. The feminine principle of the universe is with him. And from there, he begins to take his seed. By the way, when you talk about going into his mouth, they're actually saying something similar than that's in your Bible, but you don't seem to understand this. When they say the word becomes manifest, the reason why they use the word mouth is because mouth is where you speak from. So what they're talking about is the ability to create with your word, the ability to be your word. Let's be clear. Brothers, right in my hood, say, my word is born. My word is born? That's what they're trying to refer to. An ancient African principle that is still in the echoes of our understanding. And so as these divine characters become created, we see Shu and Tefnut. Shu is the air, Tefnut is the water. And then we see Shu and Tefnut give birth to Nut, the heavens, and Geb, the earth. And Nut and Geb are one until Shu separates them. And then in some instances, some descriptions of this, you see the tears that become the rest of humanity. I'm actually describing a lengthy story, one of the lengthy stories. This is the story that comes from a place known as Iunu. Iunu is a place where it comes from in that manner. But you have to understand that the rest of creation occurs completely and totally through what you would think of as a human, almost human reproduction. So the Neteru, from there, there are many trinities in Kemet. All of them are always male, female, and child. That's how it occurs because we believe in divine family. That's the reason why the Ankh looks this way. It's the reason why it has the womb and the Henanum and then the children. Everything that we believe is based on divine family.
All right, brother Mike, to you, my brother. I want Jabari to ask Michael a question, and then after that, when you finish answering the question, Mike, I want you to proceed by asking Jabari a question. So go ahead, brother Mike. Jabari is on you.
Sorry, I had to unmute. Is it just one question? Because he didn't answer any of my questions. Well, let me answer a simple question.
You're going to be able to ask another question. Just ask this one, okay, and then y'all going to keep going back.
Here's a simple question. He actually speaks about Haaretz and Finkelstein, but of people's work without reading them. Finkelstein and Haaretz have no problem with the existence of Hezekiah. So you're speaking ill of this scholar simply because he argues that all of the tradition before Ezra or around there is mythological. By the way, he's not the only one that's arguing that. He's not. He's not the only one arguing. I gave you 4 other sources. So what you actually have to understand, here's my question. Have you read Israel Finkelstein's work? And are you familiar with the Biblical Archaeology magazine? What have you read of them?
Brother, if I tell you the main source where Finkelstein's work is propagated through, which is Haaretz newspaper in Jubug land, you should understand that I know who Finkelstein is. And when you say read someone's work, listen, Jabari, look at me. If you're a scholar and a priest, you know that you got to be more specific than saying, have I read Finkelstein? Jabari, brother, you keep on making the most terrible mistakes. You're looking at the top of the food chain in your face and you making the worst mistakes, bro. The worst mistakes. Now, again, any question that you want me to answer, I will answer, but you have to open your head up. When I told you about incest, I answered your question. When I told you about Canaan, I answered your question. But when I told you about autofellatio, you went in the Bible. See, there's a big difference between your responses and mine. Mine are linear, my thoughts are structured, and they come from both cultures, not just one. Now, let me help you. Let me help you. Let me help you. When you bring someone as low on the totem pole as relates to actuality as Finkelstein, or anybody that is foolish enough to bring Jewish religion to an Israelite conversation, you have let me know that you have lost your scope of reality. If the Torah and the Bible in Africa produced these people, what are you talking about Finkelstein to me for? Why are you bringing some white man to a black man about a black land and a black family? See, this is what's wrong with you. You assume too much and you don't listen. You keep on saying that we need to read. But brother, for 5 years, I've been studying your document. We read everything. I have read even the wars of the Jews in this big old book.
All right, hold up, Mike. Hold up, Mike. Jabari, you want to answer that? Do you think, are you satisfied with his answer, Jabari?
Brother Sa, I'm not satisfied with any of his answers. I asked him if he
brother, you
hold on, Mike.
Sonetta, you told me you.
Mike, you got to relax until he finished, brother. Damn.
Brother, I wasn't finished. Damn.
Mike, you got to let him finish, Mike. You got to let him finish.
If you're going to start playing games, bro, I can play games too.
Mike, you got to let him finish. And then
you have to let me finish my statement, brother. What's wrong with you?
All right, I just had to let Mike go because I'm not up with this bullshit. Either you're going to let the man speak or you not, bro. God damn, Mike. You just went around and gave a whole goddamn talk. Now I want him to answer it. I'm coming back to you. Come on, Mike. Now, Jabari, are you satisfied with the answer, brother? That's all I'm asking.
I asked him a simple question. I asked him, you can't simply just say that someone's work is foolish just because of their ethnicity. There are no African people doing archaeological work in that region. Router, who was in Kemet, whose site, by the way, I've visited at least 7 times. So I want you to hear that I didn't ask him whether he thought the work was worth anything.
You gonna get the mic back?
I asked him whether he had read the work. He didn't even name the work. Something that he said that he didn't want to look at his work. I asked him, I said, he made an erroneous comment about the man's work. He said that the proof that the Israelites existed is some of the work of Hezekiah. Finkelstein and others have no problem with Hezekiah. There's a material archaeological culture for Hezekiah, for King Hezekiah. No one disputes whether Hezekiah was alive. I'm talking about the patriarchs. Maybe he doesn't know what that phrase references in biblical archaeology, not even the archaeology of ancient Kemet. In biblical archaeology, you cannot come to this debate simply with one book and a poor understanding of a Kemetic text. You can't do that. If you do that, you're going to be confused. So I don't know what to say. He hasn't read any of the stuff. So he has to read it and then tell me what his problems are. That's all. That's what I wanted to know. I want to know what your problems are, Brother Mike. Read the text.
Keep talking, man. Keep talking till I get him in, man. Because
so that's part of my challenge. If you have an issue with someone's work, you should read it and be able to critique it. Some folks got upset that I actually critiqued Brother Zion Lex's work. That's what scholarship is. That scholarship is about looking at sources, looking at particularly when we're talking about history, looking at archaeological evidence, looking at textual evidence, looking at several different sources, trying to see what actually fits into the historical record. You can't do that if you don't even read the work and just simply call him a white man. So if you're doing that, then all of the archaeology is out of the window. Don't you think that I think that some of these archaeologists, these Tambu archaeologists are actually biased? I actually believe that. I would argue that some of their work is very poor, but you have to read the work in order to make that argument. You can't just say it just simply because he's a Tambu. That doesn't make any sense. So I want you to read his book. I'm not even tell you the name. Half the people in the chat room probably know the name of the text. But the fact that Brother Mike didn't even reference the text, what does that mean? You heard some other Hebrew folks in debates mention Finkelstein. And so you thought you could just use some of the same debates they use. But they read the work. Zion Lex has read the, not Zion Lex, I'm sorry. Divine Prospect has read the work. That's the reason why I was disappointed in the fact that he wasn't honest about some of the things he said, because he said some things on video, then didn't want to say them in public. But let's be clear, I enjoyed that debate. I learned things from my debate with Divine Prospect because he read the text.
Ah, brother, when I say something, you can't override me. I'm coming.
You gotta read the text. And if you don't read the text, then you can't really refute them. Not simply because they're Europeans. Until we are able to pay for all those people to be able to go into those areas and do the archaeological work ourselves and control the narrative in the entire region, then you have to read and try to understand what others are doing and try to see if they're simply trying to articulate things that are proven by the material culture. That's what you have to do. Sometimes their interpretation of the material culture is shifted, is skewed. I understand that that happens. So then articulate why it's skewed. You have to read the work. He didn't answer almost none of the questions. He said, I didn't talk about incest. I showed you a slide and I read from the slide. I mentioned at least 6 or 7 instances where incest occurs in the Bible. I talked about the fact that when you're talking about mythological characters and you say that there's incest, how can it be incest when you're talking about the sun? How can it be incest when you're talking about the heavens and the earth? There's incest between the heavens and the earth? How does that happen? I don't know if he understands what he's saying. And so he needs to do more research. He needs to do more study before he steps into the ring. He's not ready. And I'm willing to talk to him because he's my brother. But the reality is that there are other Hebrew scholars that would have made me really do some work. This is light work this afternoon. This is light work. I'm you know how many articles I came prepared to discuss? I didn't even get through any of them because the reality is that I didn't need them. He didn't respond to any of my questions. He didn't articulate or refute any of my claims. He thinks that saying the word literal makes something literal. He thinks that simply saying that a being has a soul is makes that being literal. By the way, who has seen a soul? The soul is literal? What does literal mean to you? What does literal mean to you? So I don't understand why he thought he was ready. I don't understand why he thought he was ready. But the reality is that he needs to do more research. And I'm going to tell you, as someone who was a scholar, there are weaknesses in the historical record in Kemet as well. I could do better debating me than he did debating me on a light day. I could just do this like brothers do chess in the park and say, Jabari, what about this? I don't know. I can't prove that. Well, what do you mean you can't? I mean, what was he doing? I don't understand why he thought he could come to this. I just don't get it. He didn't talk about David and the 200 foreskins. He didn't explain how creation occurs with no female. He said his response was that females were created. Everyone knows that. I have a mother, I have a wife, I have a sister. There's sisters walking down the block in front of my house right now. You don't have to explain to me that there are women that exist. I'm saying your divine force, the way that the Europeans have described it, they have left the divine feminine out because they have a problem with femininity. That's the reason why certain books that early Christians and some Jewish communities read were not included in the canonical Bible. This is not Jabari saying this. Do the scholarship. Do the scholarship. Why weren't they included? Because there were some things that they didn't like. They couldn't make some of these literal. It's one of the reasons why a book like Enoch is not there. Enoch is not a book that you can read literally. That's the reason why Enoch wasn't there. What about the story of oh, now I'm gonna have a senior moment here for a second, because this brother's giving me the sister that actually performs baptisms with Paul. I'm gonna get her name back in a second. But why is it that that book is not in your canonical Bible? And the reason why she's not in the canonical Bible is because let's be clear that they have a challenge with femininity, and having a challenge with femininity makes it anti-African. You have to re-Africanize your tradition. African traditions recognize the role of the woman. And that's also why in many of the Hebrew Israelite communities, I'm not saying all of them, in many of the Hebrew Israelite communities, they have challenges with women as well. Why is that? And that's because they are following a tradition that was given to them by their slave owner. Let's be clear. As African languages were illegal, as it was illegal for us to be able to dispute or to speak in African language, or even to read in our enslavement.
All right, hold on, Jabari. Hold on, Jabari.
Problem with you using the Bible.
Hold on, we got Michael. Michael, you there? Unmute yourself.
Yes, I'm back, brother.
All right, now listen.
I'm gonna mute.
Now hold on, listen for a minute, brother. When I say time, you can't override me. Just let me do what I do. I'm coming right back to you. I was simply asking Jabari, is he satisfied with your question? And you couldn't say, you kept coming back in, brother. Let me be the moderator. I'm being as fair as I can. Now, let's go right back to it so you can see, so we can make it understood and clear. Now, Jabari, real quick.
Brother Sarnetta, brother, you're addressing me and you're going to talk to another man. Come on, Sar. Bruh, I was speaking and you cut me off. We agreed, even Jabari. Come on, Sarnetta. Even Jabari agreed to do grace time.
Brother,
come on, man.
What you again, Mike? I just explained to you, I'm the moderator, bro.
Brother, you have to be fair. Sarnetta, what's wrong with you today? Y'all lost that bad, man.
Brother,
I've never seen you like this, Sarnetta. I've never seen you like this, bro.
Where am I not being fair? He don't understand. I'm trying to tell you,
brother. I'm trying to tell you that I was speaking. You asked me a question. I was speaking, and you wouldn't let me finish. You wanted to move on to his statement, and I even had grace time left to speak.
Mike,
and you still doing that.
Mike, do you wanna continue on, or you just don't want to do it? Because it's going to be
my way. I would like to finish my statement. I would like to finish my statement. You asking me a question now.
You're not going to finish it until I ask him the question. Because I'm the moderator, bro. Come on.
Bro, you trying to play games, Saul. You playing games. You won't even let me answer your question. You just asked me. You scared, and you trying to go.
I think Mike is ducking right now because I'm muting him, and he keep unmuting himself, talking. Just relax, brother. Come on, Mike. What is you doing? Do you want to do this or you don't? Now, here's the question. Jabari, are you satisfied with his answer? That's all I was going to ask him. And I'm coming back to you, Mike. Now, Jabari, are you satisfied with his answer that he gave you?
Let me say this. I know that the two of you were on the phone trying to negotiate his return to the discussion.
Yeah.
The family heard me respond to that in a detailed fashion. I don't think I need to say more. The one thing I will say is I couldn't remember the name of the woman that baptizes with Paul. Her name was Thecla. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, so we went back to that question again. All right, so now, Mike, you got the floor. He's not satisfied with the answer you gave him. Do you remember the question, brother?
Hell no, not after all of this craziness, Anetta. You could have just let me finish speaking.
See, Mike,
what is the question, brother? What is the question?
Are you asking me what the question is?
Yes, what was the question you asked him?
I don't think he's able to answer the question. I asked him whether
he don't even remember.
Read. I asked him whether he had actually read Finkelstein's work or even was familiar with the biblical archaeology magazine, because the statement he made about both of those works was incorrect. So that led me to believe that he hadn't actually read it. So tell me exactly what book we're referring to when I say Finkelstein's work. Most of the people in the chat room know. And then tell me what your problem is with it. You have to explain why you had an issue with Hezekiah when Finkelstein has no issue with Hezekiah.
All right.
Okay, you ready for me to answer?
Yes.
Okay. I have a problem with every...
I'll even mute myself.
All right. Listen up. Now, I don't know if what you missed about earlier, about me telling you, is very, very, very disrespectful and pseudo for you to tell the world that you don't accept all of these different white translators and redactors and stuff. But then when I tell you, don't bring me no goddamn honky to ask me a question about Israelite culture, you won't accept that. That's not honorable. I'm telling you that if Mr. Finkelstein ain't over here in South America and North America bearing witness with the truth of history that places the majority of those that left West Africa as Israelites in South America and in North America, if Finkelstein ain't got no works about that, it's all pseudo because it don't even match the Torah. And that's why I'm telling you that you're disrespecting these people. You want them to listen to you talk for a minute about some trash from a white man, from a Jewish newspaper. But I'm telling you, bro, that's not honorable. Now, and me and Professor Williams had that conversation. And I told him that Finkelstein and the rest of the other Jew bugs over there at Haaretz newspaper, they will not at one time acquiesce with the truth. The truth is that book is a family document, Jabari. You're sitting here making a fool of yourself, talking about a white man.
All right.
We're talking about, brother, I'm speaking. Can you stop that?
No, I can't.
That is not honorable, Sonetta.
I'm not going to let
when you getting tore up, you jump in. That's not honorable.
Mike, what's not honorable is you not respecting the host, the guest. All right. Number one, we asked the question. I'm not going to give you 10 damn minutes to answer a yes or no question. He just asked you if you read it, bro. And you going through all kind of stuff, man. What is wrong with you? And then when I say that's enough, you going crazy. Brother, did you read it? Yes or no? I'm not giving you 10 minutes to answer a question. Now, I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask him a question, brother. Come on, man. You got to understand, I'm running the show, Mike, not you, brother, not you. I would do the same thing to Jabari. If Jabari running off and he doing something else, I'm going to cut him off. And you're going to see. So let's go. Come on. Unmute yourself, Mike. Let's go. It's your turn to ask the question.
I've never seen this. Okay, I'll ask my question.
Let's go.
Why are you, Jabari, and I'd like for you to chime in as much as you chiming in on my time to talk, Sonetta. Help your buddy with this question. All right? Listen and sit up in your seat. You are supposed to be representing RBG, not the Ptolemaic dynasty, not white kings and Persian kings and Alexander that raped and robbed you and the French culture that are disrespecting you today. You're supposed to be representing the whole of Africa, not a divided kingdom. Now, my question to you and Jabari is, why are y'all sitting here talking to me about honkies when the culture itself is rooted in Africa? What's wrong with y'all? Both of y'all answer that.
Mike, I'm not going to answer it because you...
I know you ain't going to answer right now because you don't know how to answer.
You're debating Jabari. Jabari...
why you was talking a minute ago then? Why you was so fervous a minute ago? You see what I'm saying? You want to play games around the question time because you think that's going to be a way for you to win, but you're losing more, sir. You're losing more. You're embarrassing yourself.
So he can answer your question, Mike.
Hit it out the park, Jabari. Hit it out the park. So I never wouldn't touch it.
I'm not even sure if you know how to formulate a proper question with regard to...
Brother, I'll ask it again since you're scared to answer it.
Wait. You asked me to answer a question.
Well, answer it. Don't insult me, brother. Come on, stand up.
Mike, you got to be quiet, bro.
Now, see, I muted my mic when you were answering. I did that. And
come on, brother. Let's get down to it.
You unmuted so you could laugh while I was speaking.
No, I was unmuted, and I'm.
Mike, you have to be quiet, bro.
Unmute and laugh. The only thing you could be laughing at is the scholarship that you're trying to bring forward.
All right, Jabari, answer this question.
Very quickly. He says that I'm not supposed to be representing the Ptolemaic people, the French people, and the people. I never said to you that I represent the Tom who came after and destroyed ancient Kemetic society. I don't know where you got that from. I'm not sure even why you're asking me that question. And then you said to me, well, why am I bringing some, I think you used the word honkies, which was humorous, honkies, in talking about Israel. The reality is this. I would like to be able to be in a position where all of the archaeology that I'm referencing is something that has been brought forth by Africans. I am not in that position. Africans have not been able to mature enough economically, politically, to enforce our own interest in this time frame. I believe that that period is coming. I hope that I'm an agent of that the Inter will use me to assist our people to do that.
Okay.
And
now,
okay, that's good. I'm finished.
Now, Mike, are you satisfied with that answer, brother? It's on you. Unmute your mic. Mike, you there?
Yes, I'm sorry. I was on another screen.
Are you satisfied with his answer?
No, because he's buck dancing. He knows what I'm telling him. Everybody, and I'm gonna give you an example. Why? I have a brother that's called Jonathan Owens of the Amira Squad. All of y'all know him. Me and his brother been back Kim and trial, we're going back and forth. I respect Jonathan to the hilt. You know why? Because Jonathan would never do what this terrible pseudo scholar just did. He wants me to respect him with African-centered translations and culture, but he takes that and throws it in the trash when he wants me to explain. Jonathan has works that differ from Faulkner, Mercer, Budge, and everybody else, and even Finkelstein, Jabari. Even Finkelstein. Hold on, brother. Let me finish. 15 seconds.
Real quick, Mike, real quick.
15 seconds, brother Sonetta, please.
Real quick, Mike, because I got another show to do. That's why I'm trying to get you to get to this.
Okay, just 15 seconds.
Ask Jabari a question, brother. And he's going to ask you a question. Let's get to it. Let's go.
Okay. Why is it that you're partial towards a white man other than hundreds of Israelites that labor in the United States to do this thing the right way? We even got books that we written the Bible over, brother, in Atlanta. Talk to Nasi Yashavel. Why you love white people that much to bring them to me?
All right, now let him answer. Jabari, answer the question and then ask him a question.
Am I unmuted? Yes. Let's be really clear here that trying to do, and this is disingenuous to your audience, he's trying to say that because some of the sources that I brought forward were sources by European scholars, that means that they must inherently be incorrect. And that's disingenuous. The reality is that whatever ethnicity a scholar is, you have to look at their work, because in actuality, what they're doing, we're talking about archaeology, is they're supposed to be looking at what has been found and interpreting it. You could disagree with an interpretation. I have no problem with that. But if you haven't read the work, agree. That's the problem that we have. And he thinks that he's going to insult me to the family by saying I brought some European scholars. That's ridiculous. He was reading Faulkner.
Touche.
He was reading the King James Bible. Listen to you. Which scholar did you cite today that was not a Tom Who?
Okay, I'll give it to you. El Moshe, Joshua, Michael Edwards, all of those are black. And all of those we consider as scholars, even priests, brother. When you deal with Moshe and the priesthood, all of those brothers were considered scholars and historians because they taught oral tradition and written law. So you may not want to accept what I'm saying as truth, but if you pick up the document that is accepted by every known government, it will say to you what I said. Now, how can you have an entire nation of white people that founded a nation off of the same document that Finkelstein is saying is fake now? You see what I'm saying, Jabari? That's why I don't receive Finkelstein, nor do I receive you bringing him to me. Because if I bring to you Champollion, if I bring to you all of the people that were responsible for the hieratic and all of the demonic translations, you wouldn't accept it. If I bring to you Thomas Young, you're going to toss Thomas Young out the window because you want to retranslate it based upon what you say is right, what you say is African.
All right, Mike, I asked Jabari about the penises and stuff like that. Now I want to ask you, is there incest throughout the Bible? Yes or no, brother? Are there incest throughout the Bible?
The answer is yes or no. Answer is yes. But watch. The but is only 10 more seconds. Yes, there is incest, but the difference between y'all's culture and my Bible is the Bible don't hide it, Jabari. Did you hear that? Let me say it again. When the Bible says that Abraham was the half brother of Sarah, how did you know that? Because the Bible told you. But when I go into your books and I read autofellatio plain and clear, you tell me it ain't there. So something's wrong with you, not me. Yes, brother. I know that's heavy, ain't it, Jabari? Pick it up and walk with it, brother.
Can I respond, sir? Can I respond?
Yes.
I'm not exactly
sure. Yes, respond. What
does that mean? First of all, let me say to you that when I asked him which scholars he cited, maybe he doesn't know what a citation is. A citation is, I'm saying, whose work did you cite? And then he also asserted that I have problems with Europeans. I read from you from the same book that was translated by Faulkner. I chose the one that you used. I don't agree with all of his translations, but I didn't say that was incorrect. I didn't say you can't read from Faulkner. I didn't say that. I actually said you didn't understand what it meant. I never said that. You have to be clear that until Africans are able to create all these primary sources themselves, we have to contend with the work that other people are doing. That is how scholarship works. I'm confused even by your question. He continually asked me about me trying to bring Europeans to him. We've been talking about Europeans all day. He even cited himself. What have you read? What did you write, Brother Edwards? You said that you wrote something. I said, who did you cite? Who did you cite?
Okay. That is disrespectful because, again, and that's very pseudo. If you're telling me I don't know what a citation is, and I'm giving you a primary document that established even a nation of people in modern times, Jabari, what's wrong with your ability to comprehend other than your own words? Listen to me closely. If I say to you the Torah, even the Septuagint part of the Torah is potent enough to be validated by your white kings, the Ptolemaic dynasty. Brother,
my white king?
Listen, brother, your white kings, they ruled your lands. And when Reggie took us to the museum, guess what was in the museum? A sarcophagus with a honky on the face of it during the Ptolemaic period. So you can stop that. You know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm telling you, the Torah itself is a primary document. Okay, if you go into the State Department, if you go into any library around the world, you will definitely see targums. You will definitely see codexes. You will definitely see records. Why are you trying to diminish what is clear, concise, and written for some minimalist white man, because that's what Finkelstein is.
All right, Mike.
Finkelstein.
Mike, I want to give you a minute to close out because I'm done. I got another show I got to do. I got my man on standby right now, so I'm gonna let you close out, and then I'm gonna let Jabari close out, and then we done. A minute to close out, both of y'all. Let's go.
Okay. Well, I just want to say to you, Sanetta, that I love you, brother, and I respect you, man. Don't ever think if I'm getting hot or if I get, turned up, that I don't respect you, I don't appreciate you or love you. I do. Straight up, real talk. And the same as with the brother Jabari. I get turned up because I'm very heartfelt about the information. But I love you and I respect you, brother. That's why I took time out for my career today to have this conversation, because I think there are some things that are resonating with you that you will never admit over these airwaves. But when you sleep tonight, those things will stay with you. And I appreciate your time, my brother. I love you and I respect you, man. Straight up. And I can't wait to meet you, man.
All right, brother Jabari, let's go. Close out, brother.
To be clear that we're having an ideological debate. My respect for you has not abated. I hope you don't think that it did, because it hasn't. You're still my brother. I disagree with you, and I think I gave sources that disagree with you as well. But that doesn't mean that I have any less love for you. I actually want to be able to explain the challenges in some of what you said. So we can have that debate. You're not going to agree with everything. That's fine. That's good. But I think that we need to be able to get to a point where, at the very least, agree on what we should do as people of African descent. I'm going to say to you that some Israelite community don't even see themselves as Africans. And I'm going to say to you that I know that you see yourself as an African. So while we're having an intellectual debate, I want to be really clear that you and I can work together on things that will support our community. And I hope that when you come, because I know you're on the other coast, I hope that when you come, we get a chance to sit down and not just debate, but just talk about what we're going to go forward in and work from there. I want to be clear. This is one thing I'm going to say to you, that regardless of what tradition you believe you're ensconced in, I don't want you to discard all of the amazing things that Kemet has brought to the rest of civilization. Literacy, science, mathematics, spirituality, architecture. I could go on and on, medicine. I could go on and on and on. So what I want you to do is just say that while you may not agree with Kemet, I want you to recognize that as an African society, there are things that perhaps we could use as a community to move forward in power. And so I look forward to seeing you when you come in August, and I hope that we will still be able to sit as brothers. And Brother Sanetta, I thank you once again for doing the best you could.
Yes, all right, Brother Jabari and Michael Edwards, are you there? Michael,
yes, brother.
Are you there looking at the chat room?
No, I haven't looked in the chat room the whole time.
I need everybody to look at the chat room. Can you see the chat room, Jabari?
Yeah, but I think there's a bit of a lag. I'm going to try to refresh it.
Okay, yes. All right. The reason I'm asking that is because before we leave here, we're going to get the consensus from the audience in the chat room. We got 900 and something people watching. So I want to ask the chat, who do you feel won this debate? Let's go with Mike, put Michael, or put Brother Jabari. And let's let it go. Who won? Jabari won, or did Mike win? Let's go. And y'all can put it in there in the same way. When I throw up the video, I want y'all to see it the same way. Put it inside the description. We're going to do it just like Smack do it. The audience is the one that announced the winner, not me. So they won't say Sarnetta is being biased. All right? So I want to get it from the people, from the audience. Who won the debate? And I'm not even going to announce it. That's why I want y'all to see it in the chat room. Peace and Black Power. We out. Thank you, Brother Jabari.
Peace,
peace and blessings, brothers.
Peace,
Peace
Brother
and blessings,
Michael.
man.